Sponsored by Wachovia. Talk to us, because when we take all that you know and add all that we've learned, together we can achieve uncommon things. Also by your local Toyota dealer, where you have more choices, better choices. Toyota is proud to support Pennsylvania's high school athletics program.
Welcome back to the Hershey Park Stadium. Actually, it's a beautiful evening for football. A little bit of a breeze. Let's check in with Mike Conte. We had heavy rains in some portions during the Single A championship won by Southern Columbia this afternoon, 35-0. Mike, for December the 10th, pretty good.
No doubt about it. We're in the mid-40s and no rain tonight. The field is a little bit wet. Obviously, we had an inch of rain earlier today, but with this artificial surface, certainly no problems. Coach Mike Williams said earlier this week, though, he wanted 4 inches of snow on the ground. Of course, that's how they won the game last year. Not going to get a switch tonight, though.
In that epic against Pine Richland a year ago, won 39-38. 21 starters have been replaced, and this AAA championship is underway. Ochoa for Manheim tries to get to the outside and cut down at the 24-yard line. The tackle is made by Jake Mahala of Thomas Jefferson. Let's have a look at this Manheim Central offense. We expect to see them kind of throw the ball a lot more, especially with Jeremiah Hunter out of the lineup tonight. Hurt last week in the first quarter of their 16-13 win against Berwick. Quick handoff. I believe this is Gatchel to the 25. There's just not much in there. Nate Nix in on the stop for Thomas Jefferson.
You're going to see Gatchel and Mast in there tonight to try to make up for the loss of Hunter, and you can see the Manheim Central offense. Big numbers out of there with Hunter, but with Gatchel and Mast in there and Ochoa, they're going to try to get a three-headed monster there tonight to make up for that.
And a rebuild offensive line. Only one starter returned from a year ago. It's going to be Wright Snyder keeping it himself, and he is walloped back at the 25-yard line.
That was Jason Kalaja. We talked about him. Has had 3 straight spectacular games. He and Nix in the inside really are going to get a lot of tackles, but also watch Gigerich, too, 24 from the outside.
Kaloja is a Division I prospect, hurt his knee a year ago, sat out most of the preseason, but has really been coming here in the playoffs. 3rd and long, 3rd and 8 here for the Barons. Wright Snyder throws, incomplete. Pretty good start defensively for that Thomas Jefferson defense.
Manheim Central likes to run that veer, and it takes a little time sometimes to get into a rhythm, and this time not the rhythm at all they wanted. And Thomas Jefferson was real good. They had 4 out that time, and you can see the pass, just a little down and out, down and in, and unable to hook up.
Dan Gigerich and Dominic DeSico will go back for TJ. Graham Zug will punt it away here for Manheim. Pretty good kick. Fair catch. DeSico, the ball comes out. Manheim Central may have gotten on it, and they do, all the way down to the 47-yard line on the muff.
I think they're going, well, it looked like a penalty flag, but maybe not.
Well, let's see what this is.
I don't think he gave him room to catch the ball.
I think you're correct.
I think we see it again. You'll see he's almost in the way. Watch, right there. You have to give a yard. And the ball comes loose.
Well, he came up late with this.
Well, they say there's no penalty.
He came up late with his arm on that, and I think that's one of the reasons why this is going to go Manheim's way here.
Manheim Central with the first break of the game here.
Huge break in field position. Last week it took them a quarter and a half to get field position against Berwick. When they've had this around midfield, they have managed to convert. We'll see how they do here.
Their offense, you'll see a lot of things on angle, a lot of ball exchanging back there tonight. By Wright Snyder this time caught again in his own backfield.
Guess who? Kaloje, 6'1", 240. Well, I don't know if they have an answer for him. It does not look good early.
I would be surprised if they have a single answer for him.
Maybe what Kaloje is doing right here. Just take a look. Just bouncing off to the inside and then just grabbing. I mean, great quickness to the line for Kaloje.
Well, and he also has tremendous instincts. That's one of the things that Sherpak was talking about, Coach his instinct for the football.
Snyder, pretty good time. Now runs out of time, and down he goes. Back at the 48-yard line.
Adam Zampatti with the tackle.
He's 6'2", 220, only a sophomore. See, TJ's very young, as is Manheim. I mean, this could be the first of two here that we see with these two programs.
Look again, he's stepping back. He holds in the pocket. Good coverage across the middle, good coverage on the outside, and then getting caught in the middle is Schneider, and good pursuit that time to Thomas Jefferson, interior line.
I think both teams really like what their secondaries can do in this football game, and there's a great example there.
Yeah, they're not afraid to play games up front because they have confidence back in the defensive backfield.
Schneider hit as he throws, intercepted. This is Nate Nix, and Nix can run in the open field and all the way down to the Manheim 32-yard line.
Again, give credit to that front line for Thomas Jefferson. They really pushed him, hit his arm as he threw.
I think it was Derek Martin, number 60, from his defensive end position.
23-yard interception returned by Nix. It's Kaloje through the back door, hitting as he throws.
Kaloje making his presence made early. He and Nix are the two big names on defense, and Nix picks it off on the other side.
Here come the Jaguars out of the huddle for the first time on offense. We'll meet them here momentarily. Dawson gonna throw. Pass is caught. Big hit there by Ochoa in that Manheim secondary. The pass is complete to Curtis Meyer, the tight end. There's the offense right there. And again, this offensive line, we just saw a lot of them. They have played very well. Evan Brown has been spectacular.
The wideouts, both Plants and Brown, have been very, very good through this playoff run that TJ's made. And Brown also a very, very effective place kicker.
Evan Brown, the leading scorer for this team during the season, also a soccer player on Thomas Jefferson's soccer team and the place kicker.
Second man through. This is going to be Gigrich. Not much in there. Kevin Yeagle, Nate Mast, Tylese. Here's that Manheim defense. Gatchel and Mast are returners from a year ago. They were the leading tacklers in last year's state championship run.
Xavier Hunter stepping in there for his brother tonight. He's the younger of three brothers.
And Graham Zug has been sensational in that safety position. And last week, Tyler Suarez saved the Berwick game with a late interception. Dawson rolling, has all kinds of time. Big block. Now trying to get the corner, and down he goes. Impressive performance by Manheim defensively. Travis Nisley, only a sophomore, who's only getting better and better with each passing week. He's only 5'10", 180 pounds, but his name will be called all night long.
One of the big things that Mike Williams talked about this week was not letting this young man, Mr. Dawson, get outside the tackles or get outside the defensive ends. And this particular time, he did not get outside the defensive ends. They kept him bottled up to the pocket for the most part.
They'll go on 4th down and 5. Dawson back, has time, looks, throws, got a man, it's caught, and out of bounds, but it's good enough for a first down at the 18-yard line. There he is, Evan Brown.
It's just a square out down the far side. You'll see Brown go down and square out. Let's take a look at it again. Brown going down the far side here, and he's going to come back and square out right there. And he's going to catch on the outside. Beautiful throw away from the defense, just stepping out of bounds is Evan Brown.
Boy, Dawson impressive throwing that football, coming in with 20 touchdown passes, 2,175 yards. Brown, the leading guy, averages 31.5 yards per catch. Gigrich, tough sledding for a gain of 2 to about the 17 or 18-yard line. Tackle made by Yeagle. Also there for Manheim defensively is Andrew Trafford.
Mixing up the plays very well so far as Lawson. Or Dawson, rather. Excuse me, I said Lawson. Oh, there's a guy that used to play for Pitt. The head coach for Thomas Jefferson. The city is not a big Penn State lover.
This is next. Got a big hole. Bounces through to the 10-yard line. So they're looking at 3rd and let's call it 2 here to keep this drive alive.
These are two teams that have really made their living both running the football offensively, although they can and will pass often, but also stopping the run.
Take a look right here. Good job by Nick, just getting through very quickly. Nice blocking up front.
Yeah, Brian Altman. Yep.
3rd and 3 now for TJ. Gingrich worms his way for a Thomas Jefferson first down.
Really impressed right now by the surge of the Thomas Jefferson line coming down that left side. Getting about 2 yards deep into Manheim Central territory before the runners even hitting the line. If you take a look at it, right here, by the time he gets to the line full speed, they've already got 2 yards in, and then he's looking for holes.
That's what you want, a good running back, man. He's just falling forward that time and gets positive yardage. So they are goal to go now at the Manheim 6-yard line. And there's Dawson. 6'1" senior.
Out of the eye this time.
Toss, Gingrich looking to get to the corner. Touchdown, Thomas Jefferson. Gingrich is home from 6.
It wasn't a textbook lead block by Nate Nix, but it was good enough. And that allowed Gingrich to turn the corner.
So they cash in on the interception by Nix and use the short field to take the early lead.
Well, really set that up. Gingrich made a nice move to the inside and then folded to the outside and read it very, very well. And as you said, even though it wasn't a great block, it was good enough to get to the corner.
Brown, one of the best in the business, pounds that through right off on a lift truck. So a big drive here to start for Thomas Jefferson.
Let's take a look at it right here again. Now watch the move to the middle. Right here. And then just that gives you the foot, takes it away, and just left the defender right in his track.
Actually, there's a better looking block on that view than I thought.
Right here. Watch his leg right here. And now watch the move to the outside. Just stops on a dime, turns, and sprints to the corner.
Well, how about John Consoli, 72 in your screen here. This guy, 6'2", 290, just got in the way and blew it open.
So Thomas Jefferson strikes first.
Gingrich, only a sophomore. We've seen that all night long about both of these teams. Only a junior, only a sophomore. There he is. Last year, Thomas Jefferson got to the WPIAA final, but now we get a chance to visit with Mike Conti. Mike?
Engineered by Brad Dawson, Jed. And it's funny to think that Dawson actually was not a quarterback last year. He played wide receiver, and most Division I coaches are looking at him as a defensive back. First, what a versatile athlete he is, but Dawson has really had to exercise some demons this year. In an opening game loss, he actually had a critical fumble at the end of the game, came back, played the same team, Blackhawk, in the playoffs, engineered the game-winning drive. As coach Bill Sharpak said, that was an important experience for Brad to kind of get over that hump and get over that mental hump. Great first drive for TJ.
How good has Kaloje been for Thomas Jefferson? Here's his work early.
Taking down Rice Snyder there, and then watch him shed the blockers, come in and grab him again on the option. Here he comes again, this time getting from the backside, forcing the interception.
They have had no answer for him. They're going to have to chip somebody on him. They're going to have to double down. Rice Snyder throws under duress, pass intercepted again. This is Kevin France. France got a seal block. He's all the way down to the Manheim 5-yard line. Back-to-back interceptions. That's not the quarterback's fault. Tip drill, interception returned by France all the way to the 5-yard line.
And Nate Nix in on the play again, this time tipping it the way you're supposed to run the tip drill. Tipping it right back to his teammate, and here you'll see it again. France will be the one to pick it off the hands of Nix.
No, Nix is the one that came in.
Oh, I'm sorry, Nix came in and put the pressure on it, forgive me. And then you see, look at the pickoff here. Give credit there, number 2, Dominic DeSico, who got his hand on there. And then taking off towards the goal line, Kevin France and Thomas Jefferson hot early.
Well, again, the blitz by Nix that time creates the high throw intended for Huber that's tipped to France. And here they are back in business. Goal to go officially at the 6.
You heard about the linebackers for Thomas Jefferson. They are outstanding. They've made their presence known in the early portion of this game. Strong side to the right.
Pitch to Gingrich. Not much in there, Gatchall, but he powers his way to the 2.5-yard line. And Gatchall, he just gave him a ride for a couple of yards. Also in on the stop for Manheim defensively that time. Looks to be Yeager again. Yeager.
Gingrich looks like he's going to be stopped at the 5. Watch this. I feel like he's going to be stopped right there at the 5. He's caught for a moment and then just pulls for 3 more yards and gets it down to the 2-yard line.
They had a lot of tough runs like that last week in their Western final win.
Gingrich. It's close. Touchdown, Thomas Jefferson. Well, Gingrich has converted now twice Off interceptions for that Thomas Jefferson offense.
Gigridge going right over the right guard that time. Looked like Zampatti.
Keep in mind, Manheim Central is playing without their best defensive player, but I know Mike Williams will say that is not an excuse. He's left two really short fields here and is looking at a 14-0 hole, pending the outcome of this extra point, which is kicked towards our production truck. There's no problem with that at all.
I said Zampatti. Let's give credit to Derek Martin there at the offensive guard. Take a look. Here's the slant. Coming right off. Good block up front again by Nix, and then diving into the end zone one more time is Gigridge. Here it is again. Watch Nix. Watch the block up front. And you have the offensive guard. They're pushing out. Diving into the end zone. Second touchdown. 4:43 to go here in the first quarter. And Thomas Jefferson has hit. Wow. Not a place for the faint of heart there at the goal line.
Tell you what, Thomas Jefferson has been in some real firefights here so far in the playoffs, especially over the last couple of weeks. After shutting out West Mifflin in the WPIAA final, they had to go to overtime to figure out Selinsgrove 20-14, and we're in a real tough battle last week with Strong Vincent, a really good team out of your area in Erie, and they won that by a point.
And they did it much like they did there. Short field, a big play, and then a short touchdown run, but they did it with their defense last week.
2 interceptions, 2 scores so far for Thomas Jefferson.
This is Tyler Swar for Manheim Central. Got to the outside, now trying to get in good field position. Still going. Swar still alive across midfield. Unbelievable return by Swar all the way down to the Thomas Jefferson 37-yard line. A 54-yard kickoff return for Tyler Swar. Let's visit now with Mike Conti. Mike?
Great return for Manheim Central, and I talked to Mike Williams at great length this week about what the last year has been like for him. When you win a state championship, a lot changes. It takes the pressure off a game like this, and Coach Williams offered his reflections on that classic game last year.
Mass tripped up to the 35-yard line, a gain of 2. Well, it's been unbelievable. Last week, the other monkey came off their back. They had never beaten Berwick in an Eastern final. They've been 0 for 5 against the Bulldogs, and they survived last week 16-13. And the biggest drive of the game was after Hunter got hurt. They drove the length of the field through every play 8 times and tied the game. You won't find a better coach in this state. Right Snyder, little fade pattern, looking zug, and he can't hang on. Now we know what Coach Williams is thinking. Let's go to that right now. What has the last year been like leading up to tonight?
Why are we doing this? Then the other thing I remember the most is the blocked extra point. I can still vividly hear that ball hitting the hands, and I can vividly see it spinning in the air, knowing that it wasn't going to be good. And that was a tremendous moment for our whole program and for the community of Manheim.
They had overcome 2 weather elements a year ago. They won the Eastern Final against Strathaven 3-0 in a game played in 40 to 50 mile-an-hour winds. Then the blizzard. Here they are now digging out of a 14-0 hole, looking zug, and again, Right Snyder was pressured. He had to unload.
They are just bringing it right up the middle every single time. And take a look at the pressure. That's been the name of the game so far for Thomas Jefferson. Who else? Doing a little stunning that time to get to him, and right when he was hit, he's throwing the football, so they're making him get rid of it about a second earlier than he wants to.
Yeah, actually, that was 33 Chris Drager, and one of the nice things Bill Sherpack's been able to do is develop some depth on his defense. We saw Ty Lease on an earlier play. He spelling some people on the defensive line. So this is, as advertised, a very quick, good defense.
Nothing out of 5 so far for Reichsteiner. He's trying to get his first pass completed right here.
4th down, it's caught by Zug, and a first down to the 21-yard line. A huge conversion for Manheim to keep the drive alive. A gain of 10.
Zug with a nice curl that time down the outside. Came down and just turned around and came back and got it. You'll see it here. Good job by Reichsteiner, sprinting out, trying to get away from that defense instead of staying in the pocket. He's on the sprint out. Finds Zug down in the corner. First down, Manheim Central.
You can tell there's confidence in that receiver when you can put it up that high and know that he's just going to go up and get it.
Cripps coming out this side on the left side.
That should help his confidence, and obviously they're rolling him out to keep him away from pressure. Incomplete. Pass intended for Ryan Huber, and France on coverage right there again.
Manheim Central, you feel like starting to get into a little bit of a rhythm here, however. Throwing 3 receivers out that time. You'll see 1 deep. You'll see him clearing underneath. Had his man right across the middle, clearing underneath, and just could not hook up. And again, good defense by Thomas Jefferson, Kevin France, all over the receiver.
Yeah, that was Zug, the intended receiver. I apologize for that. There's Mike Williams right there in his 24th season here. This time he has time to throw, looking for Huber. Caught! Touchdown!
Wow. Huber set this up with an unbelievable move to the inside and got the man on his back, and then just a perfect throw by Reifsnyder.
They convert 4th and 8 on this drive, and Reifsnyder gets his confidence back. What an answer for the Barons there. They needed something desperately, and they get it done. Then Huber to convert his own touchdown.
There's a familiar sight to Barons fans. Here's
Coming
Huber.
Off the Reifsnyder hold, and that kick is good. So a 3:23 to go. Manheim Central answers back and climbs back to within 7 after the 20-yard touchdown pass. Reifsnyder to Huber. Let's check in now with Mike Conte. Mike?
Well, as we've talked about throughout the game, Chad, Manheim Central playing without their big gun, Jeremiah Hunter, who's been one of the key replacements for him, his younger brother, Xavier. Now, Xavier did not really play a whole lot this year. In fact, he really got in for the first time in the District 3 championship against Mechanicsburg. In fact, Jeff Reinhardt of a Lancaster newspaper told me Xavier really didn't know why he was put in the game. As it turned out, he made a couple big plays in that one, made some huge plays in the win against Berwick last week. And now here's Xavier Hunter filling in nicely for his brother here in the first quarter.
It was his kickoff return to the 47-yard line last week that set up the game-winning drive for Manheim Central against Berwick. Delighted that you're watching the 2004 PIAA Class AAA Football Championships on the Pennsylvania Cable Network. BCN, only on cable.
And here you see the pass. You say, how did he get that far out in the open? And what he does, he actually comes to the inside and then comes out here. He made a great move to the inside, which we didn't see right there, and then squared to the outside, got the defender on his back after he bought the fake. And beautiful throw from Reifsnyder.
Well, a big kickoff by Huber. Coming out there with it is Pauly. And he is dropped at the 22-yard line.
This becomes, oddly enough, I think a more important drive right now for the Manheim Central defense. TJ has had the short field their first 2 possessions. Yes, it would be important for them to drive it down the field, but if Manheim gives up yardage and if they give up points, then that kind of absolutely negates any oomph that they got from that touchdown drive, which, by the way, was also set up by a dandy kickoff return.
Here you see Gingrich, 6 carries for 18 yards already, 2 touchdowns. But now they have a long field to go into, and as you said, I think you see now, can they transfer their energy over to the defense from the offense from Manheim Central?
Looks good so far as Nix explodes to the 41-yard line, and a gain of 19 yards and a Thomas Jefferson first down. This guy's got some bolt to him, doesn't he?
I was just thinking that they've run Gingrich and they've run to the outside. Now might be a perfect time to start pounding Nate Nix inside, and lo and behold.
Take a look here. Look at the hole right there in the middle. Just a blast play right between the guard and the tackle, just straight over the right side. And that was as easy as you draw it up. Big hole, you drive right on through, pick up big yardage.
Baxendell, the center, helped blow that one open. Gingrich falls to about the 44, short yardage. Tackle made by Kevin Yeagle. Also there, Nate Mast for Manheim Central. And Xavier Hunter.
Derek Martin and Collegier trying to open up a little space for him there. Those 2 shoulder to shoulder on the play, offensive guard and tackle respectively. Really like the way that Thomas Jefferson's mixing it up so far. Just a great array of weapons that they're using in this game. This time, 3 receivers out, coming out of the eye.
Got a marker down. Officials talking things over.
Dead ball. Ball start. 5 yards.
The 2nd and 7 now becomes 2nd and 12. Here's the official crew tonight. They are from different districts throughout the entire state of Pennsylvania. kind of an all-star team in its own right. This is a plum assignment for a job well done throughout the regular season. With Dawson back. But keep in mind, Dawson a threat to run. This time going to fire it away. Got a man at Brown for the 39-yard line. That's going to be Adam Plants. They both look very similar. There's Plants, who's been very effective all year long.
Plants on the season with 42 catches for 682 yards, 16.2 yards a catch. And look at this. Just great poise again by quarterback Brad Dawson to find his man down the near sideline, down the far sideline, rather.
See, his ability to run, though, freezes everybody in place. Right. So, and then with his arm, he's a handful.
Well, defensive ends are out there, and their job is to keep him to the inside shoulder so far. They've been doing that, and yet he's buying time by his sprint-out plays.
22 yards and a first down to the 38-yard line. Here comes Gigrich again. He'll bounce to the outside. Still going. Now has a blocker in front. Still on his feet all the way down to the Manheim Central 12-yard line. Gain up 26.
There are a lot of people in the Pittsburgh area that wondered about this TJ team, even coming into the District 7 playoffs, because District 7 was absolutely loaded this year as far as AAA goes. But this is a team that has confidence in their defense, and as the season's gone along, they've become a whole lot more comfortable running all sorts of stuff on their offense. This is a well-balanced team.
Gigrich has that ability to give you the leg and take it back. He did it twice on that run.
Dawson looking for Brown, and it's incomplete. Well, they're well balanced. I think that's one thing that they had said, especially about Quad A, about, you know, Pittsburgh area, that they're one-dimensional, they run. But we have seen over the last 2 to 3 years, Steve, that's changing altogether. And we'll see that as well tomorrow with Central Catholic.
It's funny, we were talking about all the numbers in the first game about 2,000-yard rushers, and think of all the 3,000-yard passers. Oh, you know, Brad Dawson hasn't been bad this season, nor has Wright Snyder. Both of them over 2,000 yards throwing.
It's a big Gigrich hit from behind by Gatchel. He's just a tough, typical Manheim Central type player. Last year caught a huge two-point conversion, as you know, in the overtime win.
He came through. No one ever put a glove on Gatchel this time. Watch it. Just steps right on through from the backside and chases down the running back.
Yeah, took a step back to wait and see where the hole for him was going to be, and then hit it hard, and Gigrich didn't have a chance on that.
Dawson back, gonna throw, intercepted. That is Graham Zug, who has really been a ball hawk back there in that strong safety position, and that is a huge stop for Manheim Central, turning Thomas Jefferson away.
The epitome of bend but don't break, and we talked about it being an important defensive series, and it didn't look good for Manheim until Zug steps in front of that pass. He's made big plays all through this playoff run on both sides of the ball.
Dawson didn't look like he was really set that time. We've seen him so far in this game. Just kind of threw a little bit off balance and actually had the man open if he'd have looped it over top. So much easier from up here than it is down there, though.
Mass to about the 15-yard line.
This game has some quick changes in momentum so far. You talk about momentum on the side of Thomas Jefferson, making another great march down the field, and all of a sudden, one interception, and now Manheim Central with a chance to go back and tie this thing up.
Yeah, but another great tackle by Jason Kaloja,
who has been all over the field as we end this first quarter of play. He has really been something else. Time out of the field. We have come to the end of the first quarter of play. Pretty good start. Thomas Jefferson uses back-to-back short fields to take the 14-7 lead at the end of one. Time to visit now with Mike Conti. Mike?
Thanks, Jed. And Wachovia, proud sponsor of us PIAA Football Championship presentation here on PCN. Joined now by Harry Derrick, the Vice President of Business Banking with Wachovia. Harry, thank you for being here. Tell me about the relationship between Wachovia and high school athletics in Pennsylvania.
Well, let me answer your question this way. We at Wachovia feel that our strength and success is directly linked to the strength and success of the city's towns and neighborhoods in which we do business. That fundamental fact is a foundation for our company. In addition, education is our #1 community commitment. Through creative use of our financial resources and extensive employee involvement, we are able to reach millions of children through initiatives that are designed to foster a love of learning, which ultimately we feel leads to a lifetime of success.
And a lot of exciting things coming up for Pennsylvania Wachovia customers, I'm sure.
Well, as September 30th of this year, we had $437 billion in deposits, which makes us the 4th largest financial institution in the U.S. And the big thing about that is it allows us to fulfill our objective and vision, which is to be the best, most trusted, and admired company in the financial services industry.
All right, Harry Derrick, the Vice President of Business Banking for Wachovia, thank you, and let's go back up to Chad.
4-7 as we start this second quarter. Got an interesting package to share with you here after this play. Opening minute here of the second. Manheim Central facing 3rd down and short here. Going to be Reifsnyder, quarterback draw. It'll be close. I think he got it. He needed the 28, and that's about where he fell down.
Boy, and they had the right play called for the blitz.
All right, here we go with some of the action that we have seen so far. It's been an entertaining start. First and 10. Reifsnyder on the quarterback draw, picking it up. Has time to throw, looking downfield, and almost intercepted by Gigrich, who was step for step downfield. That time with, looked like Nate Mast.
Mast just ran a stop-and-go pattern and ended up being a fly down the right side. And Mast ended up being more defender than he was offensive player at the end of that, breaking up the pass. It was a little bit short.
Yeah, outstanding coverage that time by Gigrich.
Man for man so far, when you look at Gigrich and DeSico, they've done a wonderful job for Thomas Jefferson in this game.
There's Huber and Zug going to the bottom of your screen. Those are the hot guys right here in this particular play. Throwing over the middle, pass is caught. Tyler Swar, and he's breaking away. Swar, one man to beat. Zug with a big block. Swar is still going, cuts it back. Still on his feet all the way down to the 9-yard line. Just a simple crossing pattern, and they hook it up for a big gain of 67 yards.
Boy, I'll tell you what. Did Reifsnyder ever wait in there? And let's run down to Mike Conti on the side of the field.
What a catch by Swar. And guys, I'll tell you, he's good on the football field, but you talk about a student athlete, tried 1330 SAT and class valedictorian. That's Tyler Swar, #1 on his class, #1 on his team with that play.
Again, at the big interception last week, defensively. Handoff, Mass, big hole, blows through all the way down to the goal line. The ground caused that fumble, so it'll be right at the 1-inch line. How about this comeback for Manheim Central, digging out of a 14-0 hole. Swar had the big kickoff return to lead them a short field that they worked for their first 7. Now the 67-yard play.
It was something that plagued TJ last week against Strong Vincent, was the big play. Strong Vincent did it with speed. Manheim's doing it with great execution.
Good hole on the left side that time to open it up and down to the 1-inch line.
Reifsnyder will keep himself. I'm not sure if he nudged across. They're unfurling that.
Wow. I mean, that ball is touching the goal line.
I would have absolutely positively bet Gary's house that he was in on that particular play.
Look at this. His big toe is between the ball and the goal line.
There's not a lot of room, is there?
Well, there was a note card used to figure out a first down last week, so big toes are not necessarily the smallest items used.
That was in the Tyrone Grove City game. Reifsnyder a second time.
Not in.
Second push. They're not giving it to him.
I don't think he got it.
Well, they're going to try 4 cracks in here. I can guarantee you that.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to run behind their center, Jake Campbell, one more time.
I think he lost a little bit. Now,
I think he lost an inch on that.
Yeah, I was going to say.
He now have a big toe and half an ankle.
He did lose some.
Tell you
About
what.
half a football length there. It's 4th down and goal right now for Manheim. Handoff, Gatcho. Nope. He didn't get there. Nope. I do not believe they have held them out. An incredible defensive stand by Thomas Jefferson.
What a stand.
Bottom of the pile for TJ, Derek Martin, number 60.
Did he ever submarine in there to make the play, too, Derek Martin?
Outstanding play by Derek Martin.
Look at Martin, submarine, run underneath there. Now he actually comes up and just holds back. Look at this. You're not going in. You're not going in. Just grabbed him and pulled him back. Look at Dick Butkus on that play. From the 1-inch line. And Thomas Jefferson will gladly take 99.5 yards to work with. Doesn't get much better than that.
Wouldn't be surprised to see some sort of option play with Dawson.
Gigrich buys some room. That's a big gain on 1st down, especially considering where they're coming from. It is starting to mist here at the Hershey Park Stadium. We had rain throughout the single A championship game for the most part.
Just a simple slant off left tackle to try to buy some room. 2nd down. 5 yards to go. Wow.
Thomas Jefferson playing with somewhat of a wind to their back right now. Gigrich again. Winds through. Got a 1st down all the way to the 12-yard line. Well, they get the big defensive stop and now convert a 1st down coming out of there.
Fullback does a great job of standing his man in the back. Watch this. He buys it. Nix. Nix is the one that sets it up right here. And then that nice little delayed draw, slippery on the right side, getting right on through.
Read a newspaper article that talked about the first-timers here this weekend certainly being in awe of the concept. I don't think TJ read that article.
This team has come from behind 3 of the last 4 weeks. I don't think they're too much in awe of anything right now.
They win the state championship tonight. This will be a motion penalty. Jumping early that time was Nate Nix. If they win the state championship, trust me, this last minute and a half will be the reason why.
Well, that's a big 5-yard penalty right there because it knocks you back halfway to the goal line. Anywhere else in the field, you might not notice it as much, but here it's very marked. Well, the ebb and flow of this game has been incredible here in the early going.
Well, we've talked at just about every place we've stopped this weekend and said usually the AAA game brings the most excitement. This one's certainly living up to that billing.
This will be next. There is a marker down to the line of scrimmage. Might be a hold here against Thomas Jefferson. Ty Lease had some thrust that time at the line of scrimmage for Manheim defensively. They held him out. Let's have a look and see where they come from after the call. Here it is.
Hold on the offense. Penalty at the distance.
Thomas Jefferson, the WPIAA representative. Jefferson Hills, Pennsylvania. Manheim Central, about, let's say, 15 miles from here at the Hershey Park Stadium. Although they played here once, the District 3 championship game. Actually trailed that game 7-0 early. So this back-to-back penalties now.
And Erie, the home of Steve Bowen, who brings bad weather every single year.
It's also the home of lots of other people, too. So.
Nobody else on our staff, though. That's become a tradition there every year. We have to do that at least once.
Yes.
So let's check in with Mike Conti as there is a timeout here for Thomas Jefferson. There's kind of a mist in the air, but I don't think it's anything significant. Mike, the field, again, held up marvelously well earlier today in the single A championship. And I would say nothing caught a fast track here for this AAA title till tonight.
Yeah, that sure is the case, Jed. You know, right now we have, as you put it, a fine mist. I'd say nothing nearly that bad, and the wind has calmed down quite a bit as well. As far as the surface is concerned right now, it rains very well. Remember, we had almost a full inch of rain here today, and as I stand on the field right now, it's pretty dry. No one's really slipping around out here. It's in very, very good shape. Certainly no complaints about the field conditions. One thing I want to point out about Manheim Central and playing here at Hershey, they have actually won 13 of their last 15 games here in Hershey, including the District 3 championship this year, the state championship last year. Coach Mike Williams said earlier this week, it prevents his team from having a fear of, I guess, choking if you play in an atmosphere where you feel confident. And certainly Manheim Central feels very confident here, almost like a home field advantage.
Those last two losses in the Eastern Final 3 years ago to Strathaven, and then on the last play of a game in the first round of the District 3 playoffs back in 2002 against Lower Dauphin.
First and 18 now.
Here comes Nate Nix to the outside. A Manheim Central adjusts, and he's got a gain of about 2 or 3. If you're a high school sports fan, you're going to love the Pennsylvania Cable Network. Coming up in the next year, PCN will bring you weekly coverage of basketball and wrestling along with state finals. And when you are looking for high school champions, turn to PCN, Pennsylvania's championship network. Also, let us know what you think of not only today's coverage, but all of the weekend here as we are live from the PIAA Football Championship. And check the schedule there for the upcoming basketball and wrestling season and the website, PCNTV.com. More confusion.
Took a lot of time to get that play in. It came in at about 12 seconds left on the clock. Earlier, I credited a tackle to the wrong player. It's 52 Lucas Nix for Thomas Jefferson, just to make sure that I can travel to Jefferson Hills and still shop for groceries in peace and quiet.
Well, having to use 2 timeouts down here is not something Bill Cherpak, I'm sure, is happy about, although he doesn't want to make any mental mistakes down here. His defense just had a spectacular goal line stand. Manheim Central literally 1 inch from tying this game, and his defense held them out.
There you see it passing so far for the Jaguars, 3 of 5 for 35 yards, 1 interception in the game to this point.
Down to Mike Conti with more on Bill Cherpak. Mike?
Well, Jed, Bill Cherpak made a little bit of history in the WPIAL championship game 2 weeks ago out in Pittsburgh. He became one of a few people to win the championship, both as a coach and a player. He won it in 1982 for Steel Valley. George Novak, his coach there, went on to play for Pitt. Just won it as a coach 2 weeks ago. A little bit of history.
George Novak, of course, of Woodland Hills now. Dawson back, looks, throws, pass, caught. First down to the 24. Circus catch, great throw. It's Plants. His second catch of the night, and it's a big one. A gain of 15 and a Thomas Jefferson first down.
Plants on a wonderful crossing pattern from left to right. He's going to take it down, and good job by Dawson of hanging onto the football until he had his pattern completed. You'll see him coming back. Plants is going to come down the outside and come right in here. Take a look. Now you see Plants coming across the middle in the crossing pattern. What a great catch.
Also had to kind of three-quarter it, did Dawson, to get it through the defense. An outstanding catch by Plants.
Well, if you're going to burn 2 timeouts, call that play. It works wonderfully well. Gigrich runs into a sea of maroon and silver for a gain of 1. Not much in there. First guy in there is Kevin Yeagle again for Manheim Central.
This is rather interesting right now. You look up at the lights, and we saw a couple looks out of the moment ago with our camera crew, and you know, it looks like it's a storm coming down, but it's just a very, very light mist, but almost forming a fog down near the field.
A little different than the snow-like conditions of a year ago.
That was snow coming about that speed.
Dawson going to go back again. Has all day, and again can buy more time on the run. This time has plenty of field to work with, and he'll skip out of bounds with another Thomas Jefferson first down to the 33-yard line and a gain of 9.
And that was Derek Martin that came back. The play was designed for Martin to block, and I think we'll see it as Dawson comes rolling back to the left side.
See if we can freeze it right here in a moment. Here comes Nisley over number 89. You'll see him come out and watch. When he comes and gets him right here, that lets him get outside the tackle and get around the corner, get outside the end and get around the corner. If he'd have stayed there and bottled him in, I think he had a shot at getting the tackle or getting some help.
Dawson came into the game with 314 yards rushing. He's going to drop again. This time looking long at a man. It's Brown wide open, and he can't hook up with him down at the 25-yard line.
Flag on the play.
He had a couple of steps. There is a marker down up near the 44-yard line.
Boy, what an arm Dawson shows you there, though. I mean, he had no problem floating that ball about 50 yards in the air.
It'll be interesting to see which way the official points on this.
interference against Manheim Central.
There was definitely a bump there, and it was one of those deals that at first blush, I'd have a hard time figuring out who did what to whom.
That ball was comfortably in the air for about 45 or 50 yards. This will be a 15-yard mark-off against Manheim Central. It'll take it up to the 49-yard line.
Defensive pass interference, first down.
This has really been an interesting drive. It started at the 1-inch line. Look at this. Look at the arm here. Perfect spiral. Isolates the man back there, and again, a bump came early. We'll see it right there where the bump is.
Good work, as always, by our TV2, Service Electric. What a job they do. Second year with them. Again, he was throwing with a wind that time, and it was just enough to make that ball sail those final couple of yards. Blitz is coming. Now Dawson can run out of it. Still looking. He's just buying time back there. And Xavier Hunter head on. Tough hit on Gingrich. That was bang, bang. He had one of those last week against Berwick running back Brant Quick to really set the tempo. Here we go. Listen in.
That's what it sounds like. Probably just a tad louder in number 24's helmet, but
What you call a good, clean tackle.
You just can't draw it up any better or teach it any better than that. Quick handoff. Big hole blown open this time. That's going to be Josh Pauley. His first carry of the night, only 5'7", but boy, this guy can get in there and make things happen. And he's all the way down to the Manheim Central 45-yard line.
Talk about great handoff this time and great timing. Pauley's going to line up in the slot, make his move around, and literally on the, watch this. Watch the handoff right there. Perfect timing. Gets outside the tackle, around the corner.
yeah, neat little play and a nice time to call it because they're expecting something probably in terms of passing.
This drive literally started at their own half-yard line. Handoff, Nick, pull forward, close to the first down. It'll be 4th and let's say inches coming back, about a half yard.
Xavier Hunter with another good tackle there to keep him from getting the first down. Hunter stepping in for his brother tonight, Jeremiah. Here he comes again. And watch, right here is Jeremiah, right there. Or I'm not Jeremiah, excuse me, Xavier. Jeremiah out of the game. Xavier, his younger brother, and keeping the first down away from Nix.
And it's an interesting spot because they spot him back at the 43. They need to get to the, 42 and a half. They need to get to the 41, and it looked like he was a lot closer than that. This is the 10th play and the biggest play of this drive.
This will be Gingrich. First down, Thomas Jefferson.
Thomas Jefferson has done a great job all night of spreading the field out on you. They give you the pass looks. You've got to respect that, and it really allows them to do a little bit more running. Here's just a nice slant by Gingrich. He's been there all night long. Good lead block again by Nick, and Gingrich gets the yard he needs.
Boy, Baxendahl, Altman, Martin, Kaloja, and Consoli have been outstanding on this drive in particular and all night in general.
If this were a regular season game, I'm not sure if the chains come out.
Wow.
State championship game, they're just going to make sure, but it shouldn't be too much of an issue down here.
That's
a
about
first down.
half a football.
And more. As I said, the regular season, those chains are on the sideline. Tonight, let's make sure. Direct move, first down, Thomas Jefferson.
As important as that being the 10th play, they've also had it for about 5.5 minutes on this drive.
I was just going to say, it's almost a point where it's equally effective. Even if they don't score, they're playing keep away.
Sure.
Keep in mind how they got the ball. A big defensive stand.
Well,
sensational.
Yeah, 4 more downs with 2.5 minutes to play.
Had 2 penalties back at the goal line again. They've worked their way forward slowly but surely.
Gingrich bounces outside, has 5, has 10, into the secondary, still going inside the 20 to the 14-yard line. Gingrich blows it open for a gain of 26.
There's a penalty flag back here at the 38-yard line again. Let's wait and see.
Might be a hold against Thomas Jefferson.
I want to tell you what, Gingrich gives you a leg and takes it away as well as anyone we've seen in this tournament.
Holding against Thomas Jefferson.
That's huge.
Wipes out the 26-yard run. And will back them up. Bill Chirpak not pleased. He almost got a feeling he's throwing a knockout punch, or at least a big-time haymaker in this thing. Now he's got a tough penalty to work out.
Well, they've fought their way through penalties on this drive so far. They had 2 big ones down to the goal line. Nothing seems to faze the team.
On the offense, 10 yards, still first down.
Huge.
Still first.
And I'm just not sure. We'll see it on the replay.
It'll come on the outside.
Right there. That's where the hold was.
But again, how about that run as Gingrich gets loose for a gain of 26.
Right in here is the hold. Right there, he's holding them up.
First and 18. Throw a little throwback screen, incomplete, looking for DeSico that time.
It's an interesting look we haven't seen yet tonight as Dawson just raised his arm up and made the full pivot, tried to hit a little short crossing pattern.
He gets that up a little more. That thing could have been a real troublesome play for Manheim Central. They had that set up well.
Trafford, though, made a nice play, and if it's not thrown where it's at, if it's just a tad higher, he might have had the interception because he was in really nice position.
This team has great poise, Thomas Jefferson.
They'll draw play, and they sniff that out. Nate Mass blows it up. Big play by him. Their leading tackler last year and this year, and he shows you why.
This game is beginning to take on some of the trappings of the game we saw last year. Take a look at this. Mass. Right here, just coming straight in. He's gonna. No one lays the glove on him. Takes the feet of Nix right out from underneath him.
This is scheme and teaching. This isn't the biggest. As a matter of fact, it's one of the smaller defenses you're going to see on the AAA level. But boy, do they know where to go.
Just a nice delayed blitz that time of the linebacker, Mass.
Somebody may have moved for Thomas Jefferson up there because there still was 3 seconds on the 25-second clock.
Dead ball. False start.
By the time they get done with this drive, if they happen to score in this, they'll have about 200 yards. It's been an amazing drive. 5 steps forward, 5 back. 6 steps forward, 5 back. It's incredible what they're doing with this. And yet they continue to hold on to the football, and that's the main thing that they have in mind. And they have recaptured slowly the momentum here that Manheim Central seemed to have that would tie this game up. Third down and 25. 5 penalties for the Jaguars, 28 yards so far, just 1 for the Barons.
13th play of the drive. They're going long. Looking. What a catch. What a catch. DeSico all the way down to the 15-yard line. Hits a gain of 39, and Dawson had it on the money.
The same play they ran just a few minutes ago. They got the pass interference call, and they came back to it again and again. He got behind the defensive backs, and a beautiful throw once again from Dawson right on the hands where it belongs. Look at that.
DeSico just stretches out here.
Look at that. Perfect bullet. DeSico right there, and that ball could not have been thrown any more perfectly if you wanted to.
Pretty good coverage by Ochoa. It was just a sensational play. Dawson back.
We're talking about fundamentals.
Got a man in front. Caught. Touchdown. Thomas Jefferson. What a drive that is. 15 yards to Brown from Dawson. 99.5-yard march. And they chew up 7 and change on the clock.
Wow. Look at a fake to the right that sets everything up and comes back to the left. Isolates his man Brown there for the TD.
Brown with a stop and go that time and drifted out to about the 10. Stopped right when the play fake happened and then cut it up to the outside.
Evan Brown with his 11th touchdown catch of the year, and he'll try for the extra point.
Kick it's up, and it is good. How good is Selinsgrove, and how good would Strong Vincent be to hang with these guys? They look great.
I'll tell you what, you talk about Big Mo wearing the gold and blue right now. What an outstanding drive that was.
You're watching exclusive live coverage. This is the PIAA 2004 AAA Championship game on PCN. This is Pennsylvania's Championship Network.
Officially, it'll go down as a 99-yard.
Congratulations to the Barons of Manheim Central on reaching the PIAA AAA State Finals from Avalone Orthopedics in Lancaster, Lebanon, and Elizabethtown.
Everybody out at Hershey Chocolate, or Candy Lane rather, Chocolate World across the street. Mr. Bowen has been taking part.
Have you been over to Candy Lane so far, Steve?
No, he's been eating the ministers tonight.
No, but I have a pocket full of the ones they're giving away here, but that's a different story.
There, look at this drive. 7 minutes and 29 seconds, 14 play, 99.5 yards. Then on Central's right at the 1-inch line. We'll see how they can dig out of this. This will be Ochoa coming out from his own 2.
we go again.
Well, the big return shaping up. Ochoa still loose. And finally, a jersey tackle made from behind by Mulholland.
39-yard return by Ochoa. And again, pretty good field position here by Manheim Central. Take a look. Here's a touchdown pass. Again, fake right. Throw to the corner. They have Evan Brown wide open.
Won't see a better drive than that. Just coming off that big defensive stand. That's the 11th touchdown of the year for Brown. 21st touchdown pass of the season for Mr. Dawson. I know you won't see a longer one than that. Here's Reifsnyder going to run out of bounds to save some clock to the 49-yard line. And Manheim Central still has all 3 timeouts to work with. 33 seconds to go, and pretty good field position, and a reliable kicker in Huber.
You've got to pick up really about 40 yards here in the next 2 plays.
Well, the key, though, Gary, is they're allowed to use the middle of the field at least with a timeout, so that helps.
33 seconds to go, so you've probably got, we're looking at what, maybe 5 plays if you're lucky?
I think the range on Huber, let's say between 35 and 40 yards. Reifsnyder has to duck out of trouble, throws on the run, pass caught, Swart steps out of bounds smartly to the 46-yard line.
They run 6 seconds off the clock. Nice pass, but maybe not the kind of chunks that you need right now.
At the same time, Gary, they get 4 new downs, which is as important as anything else.
Exactly.
And now they can probably run 5 plays with those 3 timeouts.
Also throwing a little bit into the wind. There you see Nix. Here come the Barons trying to climb back in, down by 14. Trying to get something before the break. And it looked like Manheim lined up offside. This will be against the Barons here.
Just somewhat academic for the moment. It's 5 extra yards, but it's first down. No time off the clock.
Red ball. Lining up in the neutral zone on the red team. Yards.
Yeah, but you know what? If I'm Coach Williams, I ask for that second back on the clock because there was 27 seconds. If it's dead ball, take it back to 27.
They lose a second off the clock. They lose 5 yards.
You are looking live at the Pennsylvania Cable Network's exclusive live coverage here at the Hershey Park Stadium. PIAA championship game, Manheim Central at Thomas Jefferson. Reifsnyder blitz is coming, steps out of that, has some room to run, had a drop and fumble, and I think Thomas Jefferson is on it at the 47-yard line. The recovery is made.
Drager.
That's Chris Drager, 6'3" sophomore. He took a hit. Let me tell you, that ball just burped right out of there.
You got it, yes.
Good job running up the middle here. See Reifsnyder, and then whack.
That the hit is made by Nate Nix.
Boy, has he been huge in the first half.
Now, you said about this, Steve, Nix and Koloje, that they were going to be the keys to the game. Could Manheim handle them defensively, and how big have they been in this first half?
Remember, one good pass, you have Evan Brown, who has range out to about almost 50 yards.
And one timeout. They're going to go long. Looking, and it is home. My goodness. Circus catch by Brown all the way to the 8-yard line.
Lynn Swan, where are you?
46 yards. They'll stop the clock to set the chains. There's 8 seconds left. They do have one timeout remaining.
Look at this catch. This is as good as you're ever going to see.
Well, he's got to have good hands because he's not allowed to use them in soccer, so they're not. They haven't been abused too much.
Well, here's the deal. They'll have to throw into the end zone.
Watch this. So he turns his body under to make sure the ball never hits the ground. Now watch this. Let's say it's going to come down the ground, and he turns his body under to make sure he cushions the ball on top.
Again, that's good coverage there as well.
That's outstanding coverage.
Yeah. It's just Brown has just been that much better tonight. He is just making circus catches. How about this arm here with Dawson? He's throwing with a little wind to his bat, but I mean, that ball is right where it needs to be.
Again.
And the fumble by Reifsnyder sets them up.
Well, and a lot of times throwing with the wind at your back can be more difficult, especially in a throw like that, because it means a little bit more touch on the ball.
They have to throw. They're going to roll Dawson. He may have room to the end zone. He's got to get out of bounds. Dives. Touchdown at the end of the quarter.
What a turnaround.
He barely got to the cone, but does. And they score and lead by 20.
Wow. Watch the pump fake here. We get a chance to see this again. fake is what's going to set this up. He just freezes everybody for a moment, stops and goes. Here he comes. Now watch. He's going to come around here. See if we can stop right here. Now watch. Pump fake coming right here. He stops. Now he starts again. And that's what froze everybody. And he dives for the corner.
Snap is down, and the kick is up, and it is good. We have come to halftime. Thomas Jefferson scores 21 points off Manheim turnovers, and that's the margin of difference as we come to the break. Thomas Jefferson could not have played it much better. We are at halftime, and they lead the defending state champ, Manheim Central, 28-7. You're watching exclusive live coverage of the PIAA 2004 PIAA Football Championship right here on the Pennsylvania Cable Network. Back with more in Chocolatetown, USA.
Last week, Rick and Brian met with their Wachovia business specialist and heard about loan options for bigger office space. Tonight, they'll be back with the entire staff, celebrating their expansion in more proper fashion. Talk to a Wachovia business specialist today.
Be a part of the action. PIAA is actively seeking individuals to become PIAA registered officials. PIAA presently registers officials in 12 different sports and sponsors 60 championships for its 1,384 member schools. With over 250,000 students participating in athletics annually, the need for qualified individuals to officiate these programs is vital. The PIAA has over 12,000 registered officials, one of the largest officials groups in the National Federation of State High School Associations. However, with the growth of middle school programs, PIAA is facing statewide shortages of officials in soccer, swimming and diving, field hockey, and track and field. Any individual who is a high school graduate or 18 years of age or older is encouraged to get involved. For more information, check out the PIAA website at www.piaa.org or call the PIAA office at 1-800-382-1392. The Pennsylvania Cable Network, your exclusive television home for PIAA state championship sports. Throughout the scholastic season, the Commonwealth's best high school teams and athletes compete for state gold on PCN. For a complete listing of championship dates and times, visit our website at pcntv.com. PCN, Pennsylvania's championship network.
VHS and DVD copies of PCN programming are now available for purchase online. Visit the PCN store on our website at pcntv.com and browse through the library of hundreds of program offerings, tours, books, profiles, Gettysburg walks to World War II interviews, PIAA sports championships, and PCN merchandise. It's all just a click away. PCN offers a safe, secure shopping environment, so don't miss out. Visit the PCN store at pcntv.com today and get started on building your own personal PCN library. PCN Tours brings you inside Pennsylvania's factories to show you how things are made. Now there's a book version too. PCN Tours, a companion to the popular television series, features 28 of your favorite tours with pictures and tour guide explanations. Give the tour fan you know a copy. It's $18.95 plus shipping and sales tax. Call toll-free 1-866-PCN-8433 or visit the PCN store on our website at pcntv.com.
Welcome back to Hershey Park Stadium. Mike Zambelli joined by Gordon Blaine once again, sports editor and owner of Sports Fever magazine, and of course Jim Wills, an analyst for us at 2 Sports Service Electric in the Lehigh Valley. And guys, it must be something about this 3A championship game. The weather's back, the elements are back, and what a half of big plays. And Gordon, it really starts with the defenses.
Oh, the goal line stand, I mean, has to be the pivotal play of the series of the whole game. And you really saw the effect of Manheim Central not having that fast, strong back in Jeremiah Hunter. Now, we thought his big loss would be on defense, and we've seen that as well, but they needed a big, strong back there to get off the mark quickly and pound into that line for that touchdown. They couldn't get it in, and then they paid for it. 99-yard drive, 14 plays. Here's the stop right here.
Well, that's the goal line stand you're talking about, and they had 4 opportunities from inside the 1, Gordon, and by all indications and everything we saw, were never able to break that play. And that, of course, was the fourth down call and didn't get it.
That's right. And then, of course, when you turn the ball over like Manheim has been doing with the interceptions and then that fumble there at the end of the half, the Barons, the house is on fire right now for Manheim.
Absolutely. And Jim Wills, now we go back to that goal line stand, and not Thomas Jefferson takes advantage. You can't drive the football any longer than they did. What was it, 99 and as much
Probably
of a yard as you could.
yards, exactly, Mike. And that's the thing. They took advantage of it. They went down the field, 14-play drive, but they did what they needed to do, and that's the key. They get the big pass plays. They just do what they want to do running-wise. They came out here confident. They came here to win this ball game, period. They didn't want to hear about other people being hurt. They just came here to do what they want to do, and they have been doing it here in the first half.
All right, let's take a look at some more first half highlights. And guys, it's a first half full of highlights. Of course, we had the interceptions, but we also had the touchdowns. Jim, you want to take us through these?
Well, we got number 24, Dan Gingrich, there doing a nice job, and he's been all over the field tonight. You can see him once again going in there. He's got some great blocking from that offensive line, but he has made his presence known on both sides. And then you're going to see a big touchdown there for number 2 that you have there, and that is Ryan Huber for the Barons, and they did a nice job of coming back. But then, I'll tell you what, this passing game has been tremendous. Number 88 there once again. You see Ever Brown coming down there, and then a great catch. I mean, you couldn't ask for a catch. You're going to see that catch on Sundays right there with number 88 as he goes and bobbles it 4 times and finally brings it in on that last drive, Mike. Big play right there. It took a lot of effort to get them down the field. And then you see this thing here. Dawson has the quickest feet we've seen in a long, long time. Quarterback rolling out, couldn't find anybody, gets himself into the end zone for the touchdown.
And Gordon Blaine, if he does not get into the end zone there, time had expired.
Yeah, so it was a risky play because we thought maybe they'll line up because Brown's a pretty good field goal kicker. I talked to Coach Turpak before the game. He said, we couldn't wait to get out of the hotel room. We were ready to play, and obviously his guys are ready. They got on the pedal right away. Dawson, they're big guys. Dawson, Brown, DeCecco making big plays, and that's what they wanted to see. And that defense, Koloje, putting a lot of pressure on Reif Snyder. He's had a rough night so far. And you know what, though? You can't count Manheim Central out of this game because they've got that great passing game. I think they'll go in and make some adjustments, settle down a little bit, but 3 touchdowns is a big hole to fill.
Well, and absolutely. And when you look at it, they were inches away from being in a 14-14 football game.
Yes, again, and had to power it in there. And say we were on the replay. Smith, did he get in and didn't get in? Did Mass get in on that first down run? Who knows? Doesn't matter. Didn't get in.
Well, the thing that happens when you have somebody who is playing that position all year long, you don't have that, everybody's thinking about, well, we have Hunter, we'd be pushing it in this way. That's the factor you have to deal with. They're high school kids. Yep. You got to remember that. They've been used for 15 weeks to having Jeremiah Hunter as the power back to go in there.
Yeah, it didn't happen. All right, let's take a look now at the WPIAL Class 3 Section 1 standings. And that, of course, is where Thomas Jefferson comes out of. And they were a champion there with a 6-0 record. You can read for yourself the rest of the teams there. But Gordon Blaine, I'll bring you in again. Thomas Jefferson really exercising some demons this past year. They've had a tough time. This is their first state championship team or in the state finals. And it's been a program that has knocked on the door a good number of times.
Yeah, it reminded me a lot of Manheim Central. That's been chronicled about how they've lost this Eastern Finals at 8 times. Well, this Thomas Jefferson team got to the WPIAL Finals 6 times, couldn't win. Last year, finally got to the semis, into the finals, lost to Pine Richland. This year, they finally got it done against one of their, believe it or not, Big 7, another Big 7 conference. This is only AAA now. They played West Mifflin in the WPIAL Final. And it's a good league. You can see that Canada McMillan used to be a Quad A school, and Ringgold was a Quad A school at one time as well. So they're playing some pretty good teams. Thomas Jefferson 2 losses this year, one of them to a very good Quad A power Gateway.
Yeah, let's take a look now at their regular season schedule as well. As Gordon said, 13-2 during the regular season. They did suffer 2 losses, but in the playoffs, and some saying that maybe this is their year. They have some win. You look at some of those close wins in the playoffs over the last couple of weeks, and an overtime victory in there. 3 of those 4 wins are come from behind victories as well.
Yeah, Blackhawks, Selinsgrove, and there's a controversial come from behind win there. Overtime win with Strong Vincent. You say, well, they won a lot of close games. They shouldn't have had a close game if they were that good. Well, that's what makes you a tough team, and I think that comes out of playing in that WPIAL AAA.
Yeah, absolutely. 29 points a game offensively. They give up 10.9. They are the 7th straight WPIAL team in the 3A finals. West Allegheny in 01 and Hopewell, of course, in 02 wind up winning the championship. They are, of course, looking to become the 3rd. For Manheim Central, of course, their story is pretty well documented as well. We'll take a look at the Lancaster Lebanon League Section 2, but for Manheim Central, and Jim Wills, we know the history between Manheim Central and Berwick, and I'm not so sure that their win last week over Berwick wasn't as big as their state championship win from a year ago.
Well, if you listen to Coach Williams, he said that. He stated that fact himself, Mike, that it was one of the biggest personal accomplishments for him. I mean, they knocked on the door 6 times with Berwick, and they finally knocked it down, and that's the key that they got themselves in. Defending state champs, as you look at their schedule there, they had a great job this year with, you know, a 7-0 record. Guard spot gave them a heck of a game there at one point during the season, but other than that, they pretty much had their way with everybody down there.
Let's take a look now, Gordon, and I'll bring you in. I just want to bring this up here. Of course, this is their league schedule. They opened the year with a loss, 21-7 to a Quad A school, but have won 13 in a row coming in here. And this is a Manheim team that, yes, they won the championship last year, but I still think many are surprised to see them here in the state final.
A lot of underclassmen. In fact, both of these teams with a lot of underclassmen and guys they ask a lot of in an underclassmen role. So, you know, this may be 1 year early for both of these teams, and who knows, maybe we'll see a rematch next year, but we're getting ahead of ourselves. This was not an exceptionally strong Section 2 schedule for Manheim Central this year, but I don't know if it's really kind of affected them. A tremendous first half showdown with Mechanicsburg with that quarterback, Zach Fraser, who set the single-season passing yardage mark, but he dislocated his finger on the final play of the half, ironically on the helmet of Jeremiah Hunter, who then went out, of course, near halftime of the Berwick game. Manheim Central, it has had some times when they've really dominated that Lancaster 11 League Section 2. I don't know if that's always helped them.
Yeah, quickly now, we're running out of time. What does Manheim have to do to get back in this football game?
Well, I think, you know, and Jim's going to agree with me, you know, don't get out of your game plan. I think they wanted to throw the ball and spread the field. Go back, settle down. They're going to get the football, settle down, get down the field, try to get some points on the board. I don't think the defense has played exceptionally poorly. They just let up some big plays. Keep people in front of you on defense.
Yeah, absolutely. Jim Wills obviously not going to be an easy task here to come back here at the half. All right, we certainly hope you enjoyed our halftime presentation. Second half on the other side of this timeout. Stay right where you are.
Toyota offers more choices than ever before. 17 different models, because Toyota has 10 different manufacturing and assembly plants here in North America. Plants that can produce over 1 million Toyotas a year, including the best-selling car in America. It means over $13 billion in business for over 500 parts suppliers across the country and over 100,000 jobs. And it also means more choices, better choices. Toyota.
PIAA is a nonprofit corporation organized on a membership basis. Members include public and private high schools in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. The purpose of PIAA is to develop and enforce rules which are adopted by the member schools. PIAA is divided into 11 geographic districts, each of which has a district committee elected by the member schools within the district. Each district committee elects a chairman to represent the district on the PIAA Board of Directors. PIAA's main objectives are to establish and enforce rules of eligibility for high school athletes, adopt playing rules for each sport, register officials, organize and operate 27 championships in 10 girls sports, and organize and operate 31 championships in 11 boys sports. PIAA does all of this without federal or state funds. Its principal source of revenue is the sale of tickets to playoffs and championships. PIAA believes that the student athlete is best served by a system which emphasizes the amateur, educational, and character-building aspects of high school sports, and which recognizes that students are in school primarily to obtain an education. Celebrate the Commonwealth on the Pennsylvania Cable Network, available exclusively on local cable television systems. PCN is funded by cable companies in Pennsylvania, many of whom were responsible for creating this public affairs service. Don't miss out on state legislative coverage and carriage of significant Pennsylvania events. Only on PCN and only on local cable. It's one more great reason to stay connected with the proud cable company in your area. The Pennsylvania Cable Network, your exclusive television home for PIAA State Championship sports. Throughout the scholastic season, the Commonwealth's best high school teams and athletes compete for state gold on PCN. For a complete listing of championship dates and times, visit our website at PCNTV.com. PCN, Pennsylvania's championship network. Tours, books, and Profiles, every Sunday night on the Pennsylvania Cable Network. At 8, PCN tours museums and manufacturing facilities in the state. At 9, PA Books interviews authors on Pennsylvania topics. And at 10, PCN profiles prominent state residents. Tours, books, and profiles. Sunday evenings in the Commonwealth on the Pennsylvania Cable Network.
Welcome back to the Hershey Park Stadium. We're gearing up for the start of the third quarter. Thomas Jefferson goes boom at the end of the second quarter and takes a 28-7 lead here at the break. 21 of those 28 points come off Manheim turnovers in the first half. Commanding lead here for the Jaguars, and just seeing a lot of the coaches that are here and talking to them here at the break. They're so impressed with the play of Brad Dawson, who has just been nothing short of sensational, Steve, in the opening half.
They scored 21 points off of those turnovers, and Dawson's been the engineer of that. But credit 22 and 54, Nixon and Kaloja, who have just been stellar as linebackers, tackling, causing fumbles, recovering fumbles, you name it. Nix with the interception. It's been a total effort by TJ, but Brad Dawson in the last 38 seconds kind of popped out of that phone booth again, didn't he?
Have a look at some of the statistics here in the first half, and how do we get to 28-7? 13-3 first downs for Thomas Jefferson. That's huge. And then Manheim Central getting all the way to the 1-inch line and couldn't poke it in with 4 cracks. That's the real big deal here. But those 3 turnovers led to 21 points.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. And that last drive that they had prior to getting 2 touchdowns in the last 38 seconds, they turned that around at the 1-inch line, actually, go 99 yards, take 7:29 off the clock, and just feel like took the start right out of Manheim Central.
Let's check in with Mike Conte here, but we'll do that here in a moment. Here are some of the possessions in this opening half as we look at our highlight package here. Thomas Jefferson. And there's the drive chart. Again, they didn't have a long field to work with. The opening 2 trips, 2 interceptions, 2 touchdowns. Then they had that long 99-yard march, but with the penalties factored in, Gary's longer.
It's about 114 yards, we figured out. So they went about as long as a Canadian football field and then some, but an absolutely brilliant march and never seemed to waver in the face of penalties or anything else.
Maybe the biggest drive in that whole first half is the 5th one down for Manheim Central. 5 plays, and or their 9 plays. They get stopped on downs at the 1-foot line, and then TJ went 99.
Down to Mike Conte. Mike?
Well, Jed, you know, we were talking earlier during the broadcast about how some people felt maybe Thomas Jefferson and some of the other newcomer schools to Hershey would feel maybe a little bit awestruck with the state championship experience. But Bill Sherpak was very clear this week during a teleconference. He said, hey, you know, here in Western Pennsylvania, we have a little thing called the WPIAL Championship out at Heinz Field. That may be bigger than the state championship game out in Western Pennsylvania. Thomas Jefferson certainly by no stretch looking awestruck here at Hershey Park Stadium. Meanwhile, Manheim Central really struggling there, giving up that touchdown at the last second. Keep in mind, they've won 13 of their last 15 games here. And one thing I've really noticed through the course of the first half, Jeremiah Hunter, the player out for Manheim Central this week, their big gun, he has been up and down the sideline, trying to encourage his teammates, trying to rally them back in the football game. He's been a big part of that as well. Back up to you.
Great point by Bill Sherpak, because the WPIAL Championship is played at Heinz Field, and where WPIAL teams have some trouble, it's called the trap game, is coming out of there in the state playoffs the following week after they've been in the lights and the clouds at Heinz.
We talked about it during the first game, though, and that Gene Matsuk and Art Walker Jr. and some of the other programs in the WPIAL certainly want to get to Heinz Field and want to win that District 7 championship, but now they know that winning that gets them an opportunity to possibly play here in Hershey.
And this is the 16th game tonight for Thomas Jefferson. Central Catholic will go for an unprecedented 16 wins tomorrow in the Quad A final. And there are always some who can manage the elements without shirts. Some of our astute crew here tonight.
Yeah.
Trust me, they're not shirtless here. But Thomas Jefferson and Manheim Central here at halftime, and delighted to have you tonight on Pennsylvania's Championship Network, the Pennsylvania Cable Network. Jed Donahue along with Gary Sutton, Steve Bowen, Mike Conte down on the sideline. Actually, it's a pretty nice evening, considering that we had about an inch of rain throughout the day here, and Temperatures are in the mid-40s. It dropped a little bit. There's Tyler Reifsnyder. He led them back last week, but not from a deficit this big. 21 points overall. There's Bill Chirpak, Thomas Jefferson. He has his team finely tuned for this thing tonight.
Bill Chirpak replaced another legend over there, Jack Garrity, who was, he brought him in as an assistant coach. He was there for a while. And now Bill Chirpak, the head coach there, also the AD at Thomas Jefferson. They say he's a very easygoing guy, very easy to get along with. Talks about a lot of things other than football, too. Was a guard at Pitt at one time. One heck of a football player himself.
He also understands, though, the history of this program. When they won the District 7 championship, their first in school history, he made it a point to point his kids to this game. They take, or have taken anyway, a lot of stuff, shall we say, in the District 7 area for reaching the WPIAL championship game so many times and not winning it. Chirpak didn't want to hear anything about the monkey off the back. He said it's just the next step in where we want to be.
Last year they lost the WPIAL championship to Pine Richland, and they would have been, you know, the winner of that game was obviously favored the following week. They came within a whisker, really, of playing for a state championship a year ago.
And they even took some stuff in winning this year's District 7 championship. Again, very strong AAA field with Moon and Burl and Jeanette and West Allegheny. Those all dropping by the wayside. Western Mifflin, the real Cinderella story in District 7, finally, or actually made it to the championship game. Bill Chirpak's not above using all of that to his advantage to get his kids fired up, and it certainly showed tonight in the first 24 minutes.
We talked about Koloje in the first half. 7 tackles, 4 unassisted, 3 assisted. He certainly was a big difference, and also Nix with 1 solo tackle and 1 big pickoff. So those two made a big difference in the first half. We'll see how they do in the second.
This will be Pauly trying to get to the outside of Manheim Central. Covers so very well in special teams. I'll tell you, if you return a punt or a kickoff against Manheim Central, that's saying a lot. Thomas Jefferson goes back on offense. They had 2 quick scores at the end of the second quarter. Brad Dawson, their fine senior quarterback. How about the guy, his work defensively? 10 interceptions this year, and he has 4 returned for touchdowns. There's his offensive night going right now.
Not a bad first half. 8 out of 11, 149 yards, a touchdown, 1 interception.
Goodrich flies across the 20 to the 21 and a gain of 4.
Good job up front by Altman and Martin on that offensive line, opening that hole that time.
Nice job here as you see this little delayed handoff right here to Gigrich. Just a handoff, dive play, beautiful blocking here and here, opens up the hole right on through.
Gigrich again, steps through and climbs to the 27-yard line. He's short of a first down. The spot will be closer to the 26.
I got to tell you, Gigrich has really been impressive tonight. I really like the way he's able to look things over. He paces himself well. He's quick when he needs to be. He just shows you a lot of give and take here. Stops on a dime.
And Thomas Jefferson loaded with underclassmen. He's one of them. He's only a sophomore. There's Evan Brown, who's just been spectacular tonight. Gigrich, the pitch. I don't think he got there. This could be a big stop for Manheim Central defensively. They need to get the ball back and quickly. Down 21 to start the second half.
Take a look. We'll see if he gets close. Pitch out. Nick's leading the charge. Good job, though, and he picked the inside hole, and Manheim Central closes on him very quickly.
Travis Nisley fought off that block to stop him short of a first down.
Yeah, short by about a football and a half.
Yeah, and they're going to make sure by bringing the chains out. There's no question this is short by about a yard. So I think this will be the first punt of the night for Thomas Jefferson. Manheim Central with a very dangerous return game. Justin West will drop deep along with Tyler Swar. That's a big stop for that Manheim defense right there. They have to have the ball.
If you have any hope in your Manheim Central, the Barons need to get the ball back right now, and you have to think about trying to cut this game in half. So they have a long mountain to climb any way you look at it.
Well, you know what it is. You just can't get it back in one swing of the bat. You just got to chip away at it. But they have to have something positive and soon. And that's a start with that stop defensively. They'll set the return up. And again, there will be no return. That's a good kick.
Yeah, very good kick.
All the way down to the 37-yard line.
Well, it was on a line, and normally you expect a bounce from those, but Evan Brown hit a nice little 9-iron in there.
Here's Tyler Reifsnyder's night so far as he's running out onto the field right now to take over his offense. 5 out of 12, 116 yards, 1 TD. Those 2 interceptions have loomed large this evening, and 2 of them tips.
And they've led to 14 Thomas Jefferson points. Snyder will throw on first down. Nothing open downfield. He's got to try and make something happen, and he is just walloped. Guess who?
Hello, Jay. Telling you what, he's a monster.
There are so many great junior players in the state of Pennsylvania. There's Zug on tonight. He came in with some big numbers on the season for Manheim Central.
Yeah, Zuck came into the game tonight, 50 receptions on the season, a 15.7 average, and 1 reception so far tonight.
I think their linebackers are going to be good next year. They start 4 of them. 2 juniors and a sophomore. Kalaja and Nix are both juniors.
That's Snyder. Kalaja just hog ties him and throws him down.
Like a one-man wrecking crew right now.
Well, he had, as we mentioned at the outset, a season-ending knee injury last season, was held out of the preseason camp. But the Division I offers, I think, are coming. There's Nate Mast. They haven't been able to get him on track tonight.
Nate Mast has been averaging 5.38 yards per carry this season so far. Not even close to that tonight, and there's the reason why. Kaloje, number 54, and you watch him fighting off, great eyesight, fighting through and throwing the man down.
He has to be in on 10 tackles and counting right now.
They get Huber 1 reception.
Snyder will throw on 3rd down and drop. Impressive showing defensively for Thomas Jefferson. I mean, they just totally bolted that down there. There was nothing open.
A lot of people talk about Kaloje making the big play last week with the blocked extra point against Strong Vincent. That wasn't his biggest play. He had 3 stops on a drive where Vincent looked like they were getting some momentum and forced them to kick the ball away.
So Graham Zug will have to punt it away here for Manheim Central. Great kick by Zug, gets it to turn over. Seco is hit and dropped immediately by Jeff Ochoa. PCN congratulates today's competitors on making it to the 2004 PIAA Class AAA Football Championships. PCN providing exclusive live coverage of today's finals to a statewide audience. There are websites, and also email us. Let us know what you think of today's final and this weekend as well. Pennsylvania's Championship Network, and also look for their schedule. They've got the game of the week coming up in wrestling and basketball. I know we were privileged. We did Steel High in Harrisburg last year. Great game in Central PA. And I know, Steve, you've been on a few times.
We've had some stuff, yep.
Quick handoff. Both defenses are really playing well to start this second half. Not much there for Gingrich.
Great stop there in the backfield by Mass for the inside linebacker spot, diving in underneath. And there you see 5 carries tonight for Nick. 29 yards, but his job all night has really been as the lead guy for Gingrich, doing a great job blocking. You see Gingrich brought it down right here, submarined underneath by Mass.
I was just informed only the championship type coverage is up there now, but soon they'll have that for as far as the weekend stuff.
There you go.
Just go there every day. You'll find something good. I search that all the time. It's actually very good. It really is. Nothing there again for next. Nate Mast comes in and
for as much as we've talked about Nixon and Kaloje defensively for TJ, Nate Mast has been probably just as productive from his linebacker position.
Well, Nate Mast says, I can't take you high, but I can do this. I can take you low. And cuts out the legs right underneath Nix. Look at him dive and run underneath there. Great tackle low.
Well, the defensive coordinator for Manheim Central is John Brubaker, and I can tell you he's one of the best in the business, and they have made some adjustments here at halftime. So 3rd and long. They'll throw it out. This is going to be Brown, and they've got that covered pretty well as they keep him in front. Minimize the damage to the 28 and a gain of 8, short of a first down. It'll be 4th down coming up here for Thomas Jefferson.
I like the play call, though. It's the first time we've seen him run that play from that formation. That gives Manheim something, a little bit something else to take a look at, and they've been very successful throwing the football tonight.
Wiley Brown waiting there, trying to see if anything would set up in front of him, but not able to get to the first down.
Manheim Central needs a big return or some kind of big-time lightning bolt here.
It is kick.
Wow, great kick. Fielded by Justin West. He'll hand it off to Tyler Swar, trying to get around the corner, and does. Now Swar moves into the clear. Has one man to beat, blockers in front, 30. Swar steps inside the 20 and hurled it out all the way up to the 15-yard line. There's the big play. The Barons need to ignite the comeback. A 46-yard punt and a 56-yard return by Tyler Swar.
Brown unloaded that beautiful spiral, and then Swar got it and brought it straight back down, and Brown was the one to finally push him out of bounds.
Well, they ran the reverse on the punt. We'll see it here.
See everybody going the other direction, now coming back against the grain, and then good block right there. Oh, number 83, not Adam Plants, rather number 83, Dan Whitmer, making the block there to open him up.
This is Ochoa, steps through, has 5, has 10 to the 5-yard line. Jeff Ochoa's first big run of the night. They run behind the big center, Jay Campbell, Marcus Zimmerman, Blake Alston, Graham McMillan.
They'll mark him just shy of the first down.
If you're a Manheim Central fan, it's very simple. You've got to score on this possession.
They had it all the way to the 1-inch line midway through that second quarter and could not get in.
Then had to watch a 7-minute and 29-second march back up the field for a touchdown.
They barely got the snap out of there, almost fumbled the exchange, and a late handoff. There's Kaloje, just ripped that ball out of there, I'm sure, in the pile.
Wow. I'm surprised he didn't need it. This guy's unbelievable.
Here's the exchange. They almost turn it over here.
Didn't quite have his hands on it well, and then, boom, there's Kaloje right in from the backside.
So now they're 3rd and 1. Obviously this is where they missed Jeremiah Hunter, the big power guy in here.
3rd down conversion so far. Manheim 1 out of 6.
Ochoa steps through. I don't think he's going to get this either.
No, he lost about 1.5 yards on that.
Well, how about play action here, guys? The run hasn't worked at short yardage. They lost yards there. Lost about a half yard to a yard all the way back.
Watch again. Gets stuffed. Good job that time by Nix. Here he comes right here. You see Nix coming in from his side at the linebacker spot.
170 in there. Adam Zampatti as well.
Nix read it out. Just hold his position and wait for the man to come to the hole.
4th down and 2. Ripe Snyder into the shotgun. He can run or throw. They'll roll him. Looking. Steps forward. Has the first down inside the 5. Manheim Central still has a pulse. It wasn't easy to get to the 4.
No, but he made a great decision to cut it up when he did.
Now we can goal line defense. The shorter the field gets.
Just good poise here to watch. He's looking. Masses on the outside. Gets a good block for him and gets him around the corner. Yeah. Right here's Mass. Watch right here. Mass will get the block to the inside.
Boy, that's tremendous effort by Reeve Snyder to make that, because as you can see, the ball marked just inside the 5, which is about 3 inches beyond where they had to go.
I thought he made it a little more comfortable.
I did too.
Here's Ochoa. There's nothing in there. Can't get traction. Got about a half a yard. That's it.
I want to think about play action again, because that middle has gotten awfully tough for the Thomas Jefferson defense.
Nice play that time by John Consoli, number 72, to get in there.
Take a look right here. Line surge forward. There was nothing. They just broke down the entire offensive line that time, Manheim, and it was just by sheer effort to get 2 yards out of that.
Guess who's around the shoe tops? Kaloje again. Oh, see something else. Watch a fade here to Graham Zog into the corner of the end zone. They're going Zog, 50-50 ball, and almost caught.
Good coverage over there, double team. Good call there, Coach Jed.
Nice play by Brad Dawson.
Unfortunately for Manheim, Thomas Jefferson had this figured out as well, and 2 white jerseys are over here.
One from the front, one from the back.
Brad Dawson is there along with Kevin France. 3rd and goal from the 3 upcoming here for Manheim Central.
Gary, if you're a coach, how grinding does this get when you've had to run so many plays inside the other team's 10, and you just get whacked each time.
You feel like you're running uphill right now.
The run in space. Gatchall runs forward. It's Ochoa for a touchdown. That's a hard run.
Give an assist to Jay Campbell, the center. He ran right behind him and gave him a push into the end zone.
Yeah, but Jeff Ochoa made that with a cut at about the 2-yard line because it looked again like they were going to get stopped.
A great second effort. But I'm telling you, watch Campbell at the end. Campbell's almost riding his back into the end zone.
There's Jeremiah Hunter, and this is why he's standing over there with Mike Conti. One of the reasons they're having problems in short yardage.
165 carries, 1,020 yards, 19 TDs.
He's 220 pounds. Huber's kick is up, and it is good. Manheim Central uses the big Swar punt return. And then Ochoa goes in from 3 yards out to Mike Conti. Mike?
And we saw Jeremiah Hunter just a moment ago, and in fact, Bill Cherpak talked about the loss of Hunter this week leading up to the game. It's a problem that Coach Cherpak has actually had to deal with in the WPIAA finals before, where they've come up short. It's because they have lost some of their key players due to injury. But Coach Cherpak pointed out, sometimes when you lose a leader, a key player, it can actually work in your favor because sometimes you play with a little more emotion. And we're seeing Manheim Central here in the second half really showing a lot of emotion on the field, struggling in short yardage situations, but playing with a lot of heart. And I'll continue to point out that Hunter has been on the sideline supporting his team throughout this game, trying to be as vocal a leader as possible, even though he can't play in the game tonight.
And he is one heck of a talent. All the majors have offered. Michigan, Ohio State, Miami, Virginia, Virginia Tech, and others.
Got a younger brother, Brian, who's on the freshman team at Manheim Central this past year. And of course, Xavier, who's playing in this game.
This is Josh Polley for Thomas Jefferson. This guy's got some thunder, and he's got a big return all the way up to the 48-yard line. 43-yard return by Polley. Well, Manheim Central, a couple of big plays to get into the end zone to at least get back into the game. Here's Swar to get it started. Then they had to run 10 plays after this to finally get Jeff Ochoa into the end zone. He's the guy that had the big block that sprung Swar downfield. But now the big return by Polley sets Thomas Jefferson up. Dawson just going to keep it himself, trying to run to the corner, does, and hit from behind and drop by Hunter after a gain of about 4 or 5 to the Manheim 46-yard line.
The problem with Dawson every time is every time he rolls out, you've got to fear the pass, and he freezes the linebackers, so he buys himself an extra 7-8 yards every time he's on the run. Saw Nix out in front that time looking for someone to block. Never really kind of got a block on anybody, and Dawson just picking his way through and finding a good gain. It'll be second down and 4 yards to go.
Even a field goal by Thomas Jefferson is huge, and they've got the leg to do it in Evan Brown. Digridge, not much there. Tackle was made by Ty Lease of Manheim after a gain of about 1. Lease, one of the rare returning starters. He only returned 3 on defense and 4 on offense.
That's one of those big plays that people aren't going to notice because it was on second down. But what it does is that it's going to force TJ, if they don't make it, they're going to have to kick the football. The fact of the matter is that it'll be bad field position for Manheim pending the return, but still.
Here's Dawson, his great escapability. He's going to get a first down and a lot more in the clear and running wide inside the 20 and all the way down to the 18-yard line. Brad Dawson with a stop-start, 32-yard run, and TJ is knocking on the door again.
Take a look, they've got him bottled up back there. You see him being chased down by number 52, Ty Lease again, and then he escapes, and he heads for the side.
And the key to that is the decision that he makes. He sees the pressure coming from Lease and then cuts it right up inside, decides right there to go, and he does.
He tucked it away. There was no thought of passing at all. He was just heading for the end zone.
He is a brilliant talent. Gonna throw again. Looking this time into the end zone, and it is dropped. Almost a near interception by Huber.
tell you the problem there. Huber was on the goal line and he knew it. It looked like he was making a sideline twinkle toe catch there, and I think he should just worry more about catching the ball than where his feet were. Watch this. Huber has good coverage on the play. Now watch.
Brown may have just kind of saved the interception that time. Turns into a defensive back. No, he just turned around and just dropped.
It also looked like there was a little bit of miscommunication that Brown was supposed to run the fade into the corner, and he thought he had the little stop right at the goal line.
There's your night right there.
How about that? 5 carries, 55 yards. That's 11 yards to carry.
Back again. Got a man. This is Nate Nix. Cuts through. Got a first down, and he'll score. Nate Nix houses in from 17. Big answer by Thomas Jefferson as they go back on the lead by 20.
And if we see this again, that play was wide open from the get-go. A nice play fake to Nix. He just floated out into the flat. The linebacker bought the play fake, and then from here on, it's Nate Nix.
So he sets the strong side up to his right, fakes to his right, and then has Nix just kind of slither out there to the left-hand side, a little slant or a swing, whatever you want to call it, throws it out to him, and the rest is history.
Brown's kick is good, and as you saw in the replay, Gatchell giving up about 50 pounds right there. Advantage Nate Nix as he goes in for the touchdown for Thomas Jefferson as we look at it from field level.
There you see it. Nix just getting out in the flat, and then the rest he heads home, and just a huge difference in terms of size and strength.
I got to go down to Mike Conti and ask who did the tape job on the shoes tonight for Thomas Jefferson. They are styling down there.
I'll tell you what, it looks like there's about 24 sets of penalty flags on the field at time tonight. You know, I don't know. I believe it was done in the locker room before the game. It's part of this team unity thing with Thomas Jefferson. As you can definitely see, most of them have taped up their entire cleats all the way up to their ankles in that yellow tape to match their pants. I want to point out, by the way, this Thomas Jefferson team, some of the players have said publicly this week they feel like they're a team of destiny. They've made 2 double-digit comebacks in the playoffs alone. They say that really has given them an air of confidence, and even the team of destiny phrase has been thrown out by some of the players this week. So far, up by 3 touchdowns, looking good.
Went overtime to beat Selinsgrove, a blocked extra point to beat Strong Vincent last week, and on the throttle tonight by 21.
You know, it's amazing tonight how good the special teams have been on both sides. Sets up great field position like this.
Here's Gatchell. He's still flying, still going, and he rumbles all the way to the 47-yard line. 46-yard return for Manheim Central. They're well over 200 yards in the return game tonight, punt and kickoff.
Special teams all night has been the factor here, although certainly Thomas Jefferson has taken better advantage of it. But here you see Manheim Central bringing back Gatchell, coming up the near side, just picking his way through and finding his way out near the 50-yard line to about the 47.
You got to be well-schooled to have that many run backs. Well-schooled not only in terms of who's blocking, but also who's running. You have to learn how to run behind that blocking scheme, and they've done it quite well.
Well, read where the wedge sets up, and Gatchell did a good job of seeing the wedge in the middle and then back to the outside as we see Zimmerman hurt on the play.
For Manheim Central there.
You take a look right here. And you see Gatchell come right down on the ankle right here.
Not really. He's fortunately going off under his own power.
Yeah, Gatchell came down on the ankle of, or the leg of Marcus Zimmerman, who's a 5'11 sophomore.
Yeah, Manheim Central, they felt they're a year early.
Well, they start 6 juniors on offense.
Oh, if we see this game again next year, don't be surprised. Although I know everybody watching in Pittsburgh says, well, we'll have something to say about that. And in District 3 as well. Pass to Swar, and he is hit and dropped immediately. There's a guy's been all over the place tonight. How about Derek Martin, 5'10", 220-pound senior. Also Curtis Meyer as well.
Defensive end sliding out here. Look at him. He just retreats back right away and makes a great tackle.
There's Meyer, and then there's Martin there.
Martin held him up
all over the place tonight.
And kept him in bounds, too, and that's rather important at this time. 58 seconds to go in the quarter.
Yeah, that takes 40 seconds off the clock, Gary. They got to start shaving time and start getting in and out of that huddle. Down by 21 points. Reifsnyder, quarterback draw. Not much in there. They sniff it out. Guess who? Peloge again. He's as good a looking linebacker as we've seen all year long.
A nice job of staying at home, too, by Adam Zampatti, number 70.
Watch Kaloje right here, holding the middle, eyes up the whole time, fighting off the blocker, keeping his eyes up, never losing sight of the runner, and then picking him up and finishing off the play.
There's another good AAA linebacker a few years ago at state champion, Hopewell, Paul Posluszny.
Playing at Penn State now.
This guy will have those kind of offers. 3rd and 3. Reifsnyder steps in, throws, pass, tipped in the air, intercepted. This is Masico, and down he goes to the 33. The 3rd interception of the night for Manheim for the secondary for Thomas Jefferson.
The second interception that was tipped, and watch this. The way you draw it up.
Is that Nix that got a hand in there?
Oh, yeah. Yep, that was 22.
Okay. You're watching exclusive live coverage as we come to the end of the 3rd quarter of play, and there's the interception by DeSico. This is Pennsylvania's championship network, PCN, the Pennsylvania Cable Network.
Sponsored by Wachovia. Talk to us, because when we take all that you know and add all that we've learned, together we can achieve uncommon things. Also by your local Toyota dealer, where you have more choices, better choices. Toyota is proud to support Pennsylvania's high school athletics program.
Thomas Jefferson up 35-14 as we get set to start the 4th quarter. And for Manheim Central, one of the pleasant surprises on this team this year has been the play of offensive tackle Graham McMillan. McMillan has only been in the school district 1 year, and he'll be gone after this year. He's an exchange student from England. Now, he's already won a championship ring. Not here in the States, but in England, playing 8-on-8 football. He'll be going back to his home country at the end of the year as an exchange student, but really a pleasant surprise for this Manheim Central team, Jed.
And his dad, Robert, coaches Hamilton Academical, a Division I soccer league in England. He also has a degree, high school degree from Scotland. Well, here's this tip drill interception. This is a 3rd interception that was touched before it was for Manheim into the wrong hands. Thomas Jefferson.
Early in the 1st quarter was Nix getting a tip ball and getting the interception. This time he caused it with a tip and forces yet another interception here for the opportunistic Jags of Thomas Jefferson.
Dawson throws, little crossing pattern, complete. Across midfield, Adam plants his 4th catch of the night. Good enough for Thomas Jefferson, first down to the 49-yard line. Cannot say enough how good Dawson looks here.
Great slant coming right down the middle, getting the good inside position, then the rifle shot from Dawson.
We also saw a picture of some of the Jaguar fans. We knew how well Manheim was going to pack the stands here, but TJ has traveled quite well. And in fact, they have during the entire playoffs down at Heinz Field. They had as many people as any other school there.
Comes the blitz from Manheim Central.
And a late handoff that time. Gigrich.
Good blitz again by Mass, leading the charge from his linebacker spot. There he is, number 6.
I remember a year ago, that wasn't at this year's WPIAL championship, but they have a ton of people in that bottom bowl rooting for their Jaguars.
Yep.
Hey, why not? They're fun to watch. They mix up the run and the pass. They've got this great quarterback.
My goodness, they are fun to watch. It's like watching a pro set team every night.
Manheim Central may have jumped offside.
In the neutral zone, trying to get that little extra jump that time. Number 55, Kevin Yeagle, called for Henry in the neutral zone.
Goes against the Barons. Well, last year, Manheim Central, they are the defending state champ. Got back here to defend tonight. Certainly not going as well. The big play in this game was them being stopped inside the 1-inch line. 4 cracks. Uncharacteristic of that man right there, Mike Williams. And he misses his big fella tonight, Jeremiah Hunter. Especially in those short yardage situations. To his credit, he won't make any excuses about that, though. He will praise Thomas Jefferson, and they are winning it legitimate. Gigrich.
Pulled down again by Mass there, as Mass trying to make his turn around the tackle. You're right, there's Groff in McGraw really the one getting the credit to play.
He's a sophomore who they really like. They think he's going to be a great prospect for them. He'll start a lot next year and be one of their leaders. Again, this is a very young Manheim team. I'm sure that people in the WPIAL are going to go make sure that Koloje graduates after next season.
Oh, and they're going to call 12 men in a huddle, and he was desperately trying to call timeout.
Yeah, Dawson saw what was going on. He ran to call timeout.
There's Berth Sherpeck. He's got his shorts on tonight.
Braver man than I. Of course, he's got better legs than I do, too.
That's tough out here tonight. I mean, it's got some bite to it. It's around 40, but it's comfortable. But still, this is not shorts weather for most of us. Down to Mike Conte. Mike?
Guys, a quick injury update. We saw Marcus Zimmerman, the sophomore offensive guard, get his ankle stepped on a moment ago. He went back to the bench for treatment. No tape, though. He's back in the huddle now. His return is probable.
Dawson will drop on 3rd and 18. Loading long, looking plants. And plowing rather, it's caught. Wow, to the 17-yard line.
They may call offensive pass interference there. You watch the hands of Brown to get in position to catch that. It's a brilliant catch, but I think he pushes off to get the position.
Dawson's throw right there.
You're almost thinking, well, if you throw it anywhere in the direction of Brown, it reminds you of Freddie Bolitnikoff. Might have to stick him there in the uniform like Freddie used to have. I don't know.
Who, by the way, is from that little upper corner of northwestern Pennsylvania.
Exactly right. He's also a fraternity brother of mine, Lambda Chi Alpha. There you go.
So you had it right. Offensive pass interference against Brown. Still the effort. He had the big play right at the end of the second quarter. Here's the call.
Well, you can tell from where the flag was thrown. It was thrown from about 30 yards behind the play, but with a great angle.
Yeah. Brown from an entire family of soccer players. John played on their state championship group that was here a couple years ago. Evan was on that team as well. John went on to play. He's at Carnegie Mellon now. And now the younger one is Ryan, who's coming in here, and he's coming up through next year. And he may well be the kicker on this team in the next few years, too.
Speaking of kickers, we'll see a great one tomorrow night for Neshaminy. Kevin Kelly. Neshaminy and Pittsburgh Central Catholic. Tomorrow, Lansdale Catholic and Grove City as well. So on 4th down, they'll have to punt it away. And you are watching the PIAA State Championship game, PIAA State Championships on PCN, Pennsylvania's Championship Network.
Dixon and the staff at State Farm Insurance on the square in Manheim are proud to support the Manheim Central Barons.
There we see the TJ Band. We saw some of the crowd here, and good-sized crowd tonight. 7,660 officially.
Both bands very good. Got the Barons Marching Band and Thomas Jefferson, very entertaining at halftime. Here's Gatchell, tries to get to the outside and does. Big gain, flag flies behind the play. Another flag flies, that might be a face mask. And he's inside the 40 all the way down to the 38-yard line. But a lot to unsort here.
Might be 2 face masks.
2 separate markers down.
Yep. Take a look and see if the first was a face mask or a block from behind. Take a look right here. Right there, it's first face mask right there. Here comes the second one, right here. Both unintentional.
But they're 15 yards in high school.
You got it.
So big break for Manheim Central because they'll tack this on at the end of the run. So there's still hope yet, although thin. It's 8:43 left here in the 4th quarter. Make that a 5-yard. I'm sorry about that.
Coach Sherpack over there with a 21-point lead, 8:48 to go in the game. It's going to be the longest 8:48 that he's gone through in his career, at least as a coach.
Yeah, because you're a demented bunch, and you'll think 100 ways right now to how you can
That's
lose.
what he's doing. He's going through all the scenarios.
Like having infants, you know, trying to keep them out. Here we go with Ochoa. They got to put the ball in the air. I mean, this is tick, tick, tick. Ochoa here with a gain of 3 or 4.
I'm a little surprised right now at the amount of running plays they're running. And
well, that's too. Give credit to that Thomas Jefferson secondary, Steve. I mean, they have put the hammer down back there. There really has has not been anything, with the exception of the touchdown pass back in that first quarter, available.
Reifsnyder's had a difficult time just getting the ball away, too.
Quick handoff. Mass has a hole, and then it closes after a gain about 3 or 4 to the 26-yard line. Gain of 5. They're looking at about 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3 coming into this thing.
And then what you're left in the middle with, after you spread the field out, is Coloche operating in the middle. So he's boxing up everything that happens in there, along with his teammates.
Yeah, and you still kind of scratch your head at the running plays. There'll be about 7.5 minutes left when they get this play off.
Snyder, keeper, has some room, gets into the secondary, to the 10, to the 5, all the way down to the 2-yard line. But as we've seen throughout the night, this is not easy country for this Manheim offense. They have had to run a lot of plays. They got stopped back in the second quarter at the 1-inch line, then ran about 9 plays to score their last touchdown.
We saw that play all have to do with Southern Columbia with Latour, and now we see it again. Here's the keeper. Fake it, hold it, head right around the near side, and a wide-open look almost into the end zone.
Yeah, right up front is the key to this play, because the play fake and then the quick cut up inside. Big hole.
Hand off. This is Achella battling to the 1-yard line. It's good to see Reifsnyder having great success this year. He's part of a great quarterback tradition of Manheim Central. Chris Myers, Jared Moyer last year is at Delaware now. Jeff Smoker with the St. Louis Rams. Matt Nagy, who had a great career at Delaware. This guy missed all of last year with a collarbone injury, and Manheim Central is going to take time out. Talk things over here.
What Thomas Jefferson is doing so well right now, Jed, is they're making, even when Manheim Central gets a touchdown, they're making them work so hard, running clock, and also making them take extra plays. They've really been very tough on defense inside the red zone tonight.
Be interested to see how much time they've had to use just a goal line offense. Even the one drive that didn't work in the last series.
Well, we know of at least 4 plays.
Just the time involved.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that's just, you know, not that Manheim doesn't want to score, but that's just want by TJ on the defensive front. That's guys just absolutely positively selling out and understanding that if they don't, they're close enough that, you know, all you got to do is trip over somebody and you're in.
PCN congratulates today's competitors on making it to the 2004 PIAA Football Championships here in Hershey. PCN is providing exclusive live coverage of today's finals to a statewide audience throughout Pennsylvania. We are privileged and delighted to bring it to you. 2nd and goal at the 2. Reifsnyder going to keep it himself, has a hole, and has a Manheim touchdown.
He was led in by Ochoa. Now Ochoa ends up at the 2-yard line, but got just enough of a bump and provided almost like a screen in basketball where you cut off the screen, and Reifsnyder did just that.
Saw the fake to Mass, and then good job just getting in the way out there by Ochoa, and then Reifsnyder able to head into the end zone and just dive for the goal line.
Well, the big extra point, then you can start thinking about possibly going for an onside kick here. Reifsnyder to hold off the right hash. Now he has to pull it back up. They throw it, and they're going to be caught short. I don't know if he fumbled the snap. I don't think that was designed. At least from up here, it doesn't appear to be the case.
Nice play by John Consoli, 72.
Isn't it, though?
That's an excellent open field tackle for a big fella, 6'2", 290. Nimble feet, I think they would say, Ken.
So they missed the extra point. So it's 35-20. They had the same thing happen to them last week against Berwick in the Eastern Final.
Took a look at it. He just fumbled it. That's all it was. It wasn't any design to it.
The same thing happened a week ago. They managed to get out of that with Huber's game-winning field goal.
That's just
sent down to Mike Conti right now and see what Mike's take on things is. Mike?
Well, Jed, we saw Dominic DeSico just a moment ago in on that tackle. He also had the interception that really helped Thomas Jefferson kill a lot of time here in the second half. DeSico's a big reason why TJ is even in this game. He had 2 interceptions in the District 7 championship game against West Mifflin. Not bad for someone who just made the move to cornerback. His original position was safety, but he says he prefers the cornerback position more because there's less responsibility. All you have to do is handle your man at the corner instead of handle the whole field.
Well, see if we get into a situation where they try the onside kick.
All good hands people up front right now looking for the onside kick.
And tries it deep, and he hammers it towards the goal line. Here comes Pauly. He's got a 46-yard return tonight. Pauly gets outside and is slammed down at about the 23-yard line. Well, we're looking at Mr. Brown, who's had quite the night for Thomas Jefferson. Let's visit some of his work throughout the evening here. This is his play for the touchdown. And this is right at the end of the second quarter. Juggling catch that set up the 8-yard touchdown run by Dawson. And then this is the offensive interference, but it's still worthy of a second look.
Oh, yeah, and he's kicked 5 extra points to boot.
4 receptions for 76 yards and a touchdown. Not a bad night for Mr. Brown.
Dawson rolling, looking, and a pass, throws it down the middle, almost intercepted. Swart jumped at it. The big thing there, though, for Manheim is that'll stop the clock with 6:25 to go.
Take a look once again. Good blocking up front by Nix, and then pressure at the end. Is that Mast again coming in?
Yep. There's Mike Williams wondering, how do I have 15 points to deal with here in 6:25?
Well, it's also interesting. We had Manheim down 3 scores running the football and it being very successful. Now TJ up 2 scores and an extra point.
Back to the ground.
There we go.
That's going to be Gigrich. They stays in bounds. That's the key.
Right now, if you're Thomas Jefferson, you want about 2 first downs and the game's over.
Manheim Central with 2 timeouts. There's his night. They've all been tough yards.
I tell you, this guy's been so impressive. 2 touchdowns early in the game. Really got him started. 21 carries for 67 yards, and he has been outstanding throughout the course of the evening.
He'll also be back for 2 more years, just a sophomore.
Thomas Jefferson converted 2 early interceptions in this game of Rice Snyder into 14 points. Gigrich scored both of those on short fields.
Then the fumble recovery late in the quarter and the touchdown run by Dawson. So 3 touchdowns off of 3 turnovers.
Good place for a nice possession pass, or how about the inside handoff?
Safe move. To the 30. And they're going to get the ball back.
When you've got a weapon like Brown back there who's been putting pretty good foot on it all night, why take a chance on passing the ball at this juncture of the game and you're up 2 scores plus?
Well, Dawson has so good throwing the football. It's just, I think it's justified. Football's a great game to debate. I hope the coaches don't take it personally. They're just kicking it around.
A lot of fun. Fans have all kinds of different things. You know, it's so much easier up here than it is down there. And I always say coaches know their team so much better than any of us do. They see them every single day and know what they can do and what they can't do.
Here's Brown.
Look at this.
Real high kick. Suarez camped under it and it goes out of bounds. We'll see where they mark it up to. But Manheim Central now down 15. The missed extra point. They'll have to try and get that back in a subsequent 2-point conversion. That's if they're even fortunate enough to score again. There's Bill Chirpak. You mentioned the longest 4.49 of his life coming up.
But that ball's placed on the 42-yard line.
Great field position.
It's a whole lot better field position than it looked when the ball first hit the ground.
You really can't afford to be running the ball very much right now. You don't have that much time.
All wide receivers coming in here with Justin West now into the mix.
5 wide.
Through to the top. There's Swar into the game as well. Ryan Snyder throws. Got a man. It's going to be out to West as he's got into the 49-yard line. But the key there, steps out of bounds with 4:45 remaining, so they only use up 4 seconds there.
You're going to run your 2-minute drill right here at about 4:45. You got to run 2 sets of 2-minute drills to hope you get the ball back, obviously. But again, not picking up a whole lot here. And you have to start picking them up in chunks of 15 to 20 yards.
Ryan Snyder has not had time to count the house back there tonight. He has been under heavy duress. Pass rush has been tough for Thomas Jefferson.
The problem right now is everybody in the place knows that you're going to be throwing it. And there's
intercepted again. This is Nix, and he's got blockers in front. Got one to the corner. Nix still going. 20. Nix 10. All the way to the 4-yard line. And that may have bolted it down for Thomas Jefferson.
58 yards of the interception return. And how about that block by the guy coming right there? Mr. Martin to open him up almost to the goal line.
But he made a great decision decision at the 50 to cut it against the grain and back to the outside, and that's what got him down to the 5.
Here it is again, his second interception of the night. Nix, what a athletic play. Getting it, softening it with his hand, and now watch. This is just great athleticism here. Great concentration as well.
What a play.
And now watch, right here is the great block we talked about by Martin. After he gets the ball, now transitioning back into offense. And you'll see Martin just put a man right in his pinch right here. Boom.
They are impressive, guys, I'll tell you.
It's an excellent, excellent football team.
Blackhawk beat them in the regular season. Gateway, which I think in Sports Fever has, is the #2 team in Quad A.
And of course, it came back to beat Blackhawk later on in the season to get revenge for that first loss.
And there's no shame losing to Gateway with the great Justin King.
They were 11-2 on the season, so an outstanding team we're looking at right
Both
here.
of their losses at a Central Catholic, tomorrow's Quad A participant. We get started tomorrow at high noon. Lansdale Catholic with R.C. Lagamarcino, who's a 2,000-yard guy going up against the real Cinderella story in this thing, Grove City.
Well, Cinderella's slipper better be awfully big, because Big 77 Kent Uber has played tremendously from his defensive tackle position all through the playoffs.
With a goal to go at 4, and then we'll have Central Catholic and Chamonix. Handoff Gigrich, churning, touchdown, Thomas Jefferson. Gigrich's 3rd touchdown of the night for the Jaguars, who are on their way to a first state championship, and it is really beginning to hit over on their side of the field.
You know, when I watch this team tonight, there's one word that comes to mind, it's stylish. They are very stylish. They're outstanding, they're tough, but they are stylish. Watch this, they do it the right way.
Well, their line play tonight has been awesome.
Just stellar.
Brown pounds it through again.
Yeah, again.
42-20, Thomas Jefferson. Another big surge, and isn't everybody in Pittsburgh pleased to know he's only a sophomore? Nick's only a junior. AAA in Pittsburgh this year, very deep, as was Quad A. And it's obviously showing up, and it's got to tell you how good, you know, because this is Manheim Central, it's a defending state champ, that they're moving things around pretty easily on tonight. Selinsgrove, they had to go to overtime, and then last week, the whole thing's on fire against Strong Vincent, and a blocked extra point, right? The reason they're here.
Well, that and the fact that Brad Dawson took him about 63 yards with about 4 minutes left to score the winning touchdown. But you look at 56, Baxendale, the center, the guards, Altman and Martin, Kolosia and Consoli up front in the tackles. You're right, Jet. They have been stellar this evening in opening up holes. This and also guarding their quarterback, Brad Dawson.
It's always fun to go back and say what is, but you said it earlier, Jed. You said about that 1-inch line, and I'll tell you what a difference when it could have been 14-14, and the game changed around, and a wonderful drive after that by Thomas Jefferson, and became a 2-score lead instead of a tie game.
Hunter can't hang on. Now Ochoa picks it up, and now Ochoa starts it the other way for Manheim Central. And he's got it all the way to the 28-yard line.
Boy, do they hit that corner hard when they're returning kicks. Whether it's Ochoa or Swar, they're fun to watch return kicks.
Good end to Mike Conti. We've got something on Nate Mass down there. Mike, what do you have?
He is one hurting fellow right now. He took himself out of the game before the extra point, went back to the bench for treatment, coming back in the game now. But, Jed, I have been watching him the whole second half. He's been hobbling around out there. A left ankle injury. He's going to try to play here in the fourth quarter, but he is hurt.
Yeah, he got hit by Kolosia, and that may have scrambled a couple of things. Blitz is coming. Reifsnyder just got pounded. That was Chris Drager coming from his defensive end position. He just came in untouched that time and hit Reifsnyder. And there's Mass.
Well, you know right now that you're going to be passing the ball, and everybody's coming for you, and Drager just teeing off.
He's a sophomore. Gigrich is a sophomore. Kolosia and Nix are juniors. Desico is a sophomore as well.
Manheim Central will probably be in the weight room tomorrow with a new goal board up. What's the date of next year's AAA state championship game? That will go up there.
Here comes the blitz again.
Reifsnyder throws, intercepted again.
This time it's Adam Plants.
And it's Plants all the way down to the 13-yard line. The 5th interception of Reifsnyder tonight. It's just tough back there trying to find anything open.
You're going to get the interceptions from the glory guys back there, but give that line credit all night. They've been blitzing, they've been changing up. Kaloje has been in the middle there a lot. Again, pressure, and this time plans with another great pickoff for Thomas Jefferson.
Ryan Snyder's just trying to make something happen, and there's just nothing but white shirts around, and when you know they're not going to run, they're just bringing four guys, and everybody's laying out in that secondary here.
Ryan Snyder threw 6 interceptions all year long. Tonight he has 5. I talked a little bit about the great defense of Thomas Jefferson, too.
Picks his way to the 10-yard line, and a gain of 4.
You know, I can't believe, and you watch this Thomas Jefferson team and talks about the quality of play out in the West, coming from behind 3 of the last 4 weeks to win. And as Jed said earlier, I mean, that really talks about the quality of what they're looking at week in and week out.
It was a great year in Western Pennsylvania.
Really
Quad A level. I mean, the 4 top teams. And looking at PASportsFever.com, I mean, it's Central Catholic, Gateway, Penn Hills, Upper St. Clair. And at AAA,
Thomas Jefferson, thank you very much.
This says an awful lot right here.
Well, and again, they were the 4th team in the Western District 7 championship
Boone
tournament.
and West Allegheny were getting all the calls. Gibberick picks his way inside the 5 and 8. Thomas Jefferson first down. Wasn't it the big?
Oh yeah.
Boone got shocked by West Mifflin, right?
Yeah, and so too did West Allegheny.
Because West Mifflin came in under 500 into the Whitfield tournament.
West Mifflin ended up, what, 7-6 for the season?
Got all the way to the final. Got shut out by these guys, 20-0.
And you talk about the game last week against Strong Vincent, and 21-20, and it was a game of big plays for Vincent, a 70-yard pass, 59-yard run. This was the kind of defense we saw for most of the rest of the game.
There's Gigrich looking for his 4th touchdown, dives and scores. 4 touchdowns for Gigrich tonight. 6-foot sophomore having a game for the ages to remember.
How's that to put your scrapbook? 4 touchdowns for the state championship, and your team's walking out of here. You're going to put 49 points on the board in a moment.
I have a feeling the Gigrich family will be buying a few extra Post-Gazettes and Trib Reviews tomorrow. I do believe that's the case. Kick by Brown, bang, right down the pipe. 49-20. They've got 35 points off Manheim turnovers.
Here's Nick doing it again. Another good block, and there's Gigrich following through the hole created. There it is.
The blower open.
I'll tell you, Gigrich doesn't take any prisoners at the goal line himself. He knows how to lay a lick on you, too.
Well, 6'1", 185, and that's not small for a halfback. And you've got 6'3", 205 Nate Nix leading the way in that big offensive line. It's easy to see why this team was the proverbial bag of chips.
Well, now you can relax a little bit there, Coach Turpak. Even though he's not smiling just yet.
What a big, big win for this program. Navigating through, as you say. It's kind of like a Notre Dame fan base in Pittsburgh. They are, what have you done for me 10 minutes ago? And this will be a nice one for them.
Well, it's certainly a year of firsts for TJ. Their first WPIAL championship. And now, unless,
their fans like to be on the upper end of the game here. And they're very passionate.
25 carries for 85 yards today for Gigrich and 4 TDs.
They back it up by following their team and following their kids. How about this run? Stepping to the outside for Manheim Central.
Wilson.
Andy Wilson, a junior.
5'8" junior into the game.
You used to be able to tell when the curtain calls would come at the change of possession because the clean jerseys would come in and the dirty ones would leave. With this new A-turfman, I'm not complaining. But white looks white.
I don't think anybody down there is complaining either. This turf has really stood up the last 2 years.
Yeah. I've talked to coaches who say this is the best surface they play on. And
I walked down after last year's game when the snow was there, and I had on street shoes, and I literally could walk on there. It was like there was no snow there. It was incredible.
Once we hit concrete, though, to the car, got a little dicey after that.
It was a little different. Took me an hour and a half to get home.
He's still in there pitching away, and kind of for Zug incomplete.
And even now, the angles have come. And here's why, the great defense.
This got it started tonight. There's France.
Another the tip play, the big play again.
And again, he has been under duress. There's Saloja forcing it.
Nix with another interception.
Great work as always. Our crew tonight has been all over it.
We got another.
Service Electric, and you folks watching us in the Lehigh Valley are fortunate to get their work on a regular basis. I know Mike and Jim are with us tonight, and do a great job. Here's Reifsnyder looking long, got a guy breaking free, and Zug can't catch up with him. That's a real tough catch to make, looking over your shoulder like that. Is that Huber or Zug? I think that's Huber.
Yeah. I also think that that's one of those passes. The wind isn't certainly as strong as it was this afternoon, but I think because of how high he had to put that up there to loop it in, the wind might have pushed it a little bit, because we saw Huber having to really turn back towards the sideline.
Well, I don't know. I think we might be getting the water ready over on the far side. Looks like some suspicious activity in behind Coach Turpak. I don't know if I'd pour water on him.
I'd have somebody guarding me. That's a chilly proposition tonight. Reifsnyder throws, pass caught, Swar to the 32-yard line, and you got to respect the defending state champs are going to go down swinging.
Somehow I also don't think that his knees are nearly as cold as they were at the 6:48 mark.
There he is.
A little smile there. Yeah, you can smile now. It's 1:51 to go, and you're up by 29.
And he gets it.
And there it is.
They got him real good.
Now look at his face. You got to be tough now as a coach. You can't be giving in here. You can't be smiling a lot about that.
Which way to the beach, right?
That's right.
It's 40 degrees out here.
He didn't feel a lick of that, I'll tell you right now.
Reifsnyder throws, Suarez intercepted, and this one may go all the way. This is Dawson. Dawson looking for the touchdown, and he'll score.
78 yards. Dawson with, I believe, his 5th return for the season for a touchdown off an interception. 8th for the season. He leads the team. If you didn't have bad luck tonight in your right start, you'd have no luck at all.
At the same time, we've got Gigerich with the 4 touchdowns, and we've got the 5 interceptions. But this game, as much as anything, has been right on number one's shoulders. Some great decision-making with the touchdown drive, a tremendous run the last play of the first half to score from 10 yards out. He's made some dandy throws all evening long.
6 interceptions tonight, and maybe fitting that Dawson should put the exclamation point on this one.
His 11th interception of the year, his 5th for a touchdown.
Here you go. Watch this. Not a bad throw. A little bit behind the receiver, though, Swar, and then picked off by Dawson, and there he goes.
Out of those 6 interceptions, 5 got tipped before they were called.
That's right. Here you see it again. Just a little bit behind the receiver, off the right through the hands, actually, and then Dawson looking just like a shortstop, picking it off and heading down the side.
Flaps come down for the last 20 or so yards to Mike Conti. Mike?
Guys, let's remember once again that Dawson, who's had a fantastic night at quarterback for Thomas Jefferson, really being looked at as a defensive back prospect at the next level. He was a converted wide receiver, but most coaches have told him that in college, probably in Division I, he will be a defensive back. Certainly no surprise with all those touchdowns he's put up on defense this year.
See a lot of smiling faces on the side. It's nice to enjoy your last 151 now as you march home with a, 36-point lead. Who'd have thunk it?
It'll be Tyler Suarez had a couple of big returns tonight for Manheim. And down he goes at the 25-yard line. I give the Manheim Central fans a lot of credit. They're going to hang out here and see their team get a runner-up trophy.
It was Jared Lowe, number 36, on the tackle for TJ.
Well, there it is. Big win for Thomas Jefferson. There's some of their fans right there. Their team has been brilliant tonight. Here's Gatchell. Runs forward, not much in there.
As you can see, we tick under a minute here. Thomas Jefferson with their first state championship coming up.
We talked about it being a game of inches and fingertips tonight, which with the 4th within inches, and TJ stopping stopping Manheim Central, driving 99 yards. We mentioned 5 of the 6 interceptions have been tipped.
Thomas Jefferson won their first PIAA championship in 1980. It took 24 more years to get another one, which they did this year. And now they're going to tack on the state championship. And tell you what, you can feel them getting it all ready now for the celebration.
Like the job by Coach Williams, too, just to say, congratulations, let it tick down.
And Thomas Jefferson is the 2004 AAA state champion. Impressively so tonight, 56-20. Coming up tomorrow at noon, it'll be Lansdale Catholic going up against Grove City at 5 o'clock Quad A championship game. Pittsburgh Central Catholic going up against Neshaminy, and 2 coaches meeting there at midfield. Mike Williams, you won't find anybody more gracious in defeat than him. There's tomorrow's schedule, and congratulations to Thomas Jefferson and Manheim Central. They were a great champion, and they made it all the way back with a chance to defend it, and there's something to be said about that in this state, as tough as this tournament is.
They got a target on you every week. And certainly they withstood all of the challenges. This, though, I don't know as the team of destiny, but boy, were they peaking at the right time, and especially defensively. TJ came into this game, I think, playing as well defensively as any team, except for maybe the team we're going to see tomorrow afternoon or tomorrow evening, Pittsburgh Central Catholic. They really have been putting it to people.
Hats off to that guy, the outstanding job he did tonight, Bill Cherpak, and wow, what a performance his team put on tonight. Coming back 3 of the last 4 games to win, 6 interceptions tonight. Dawson putting on a show with a pass. I mean, the outstanding receivers they had all night. You talk about Evan Brown. I mean, a whole lot of heroes on the field for Thomas Jefferson.
Sent down to Mike Conti, who's seeing all of the ceremonies kind of set themselves up here. What do you have for us, Mike?
Well, really not a whole lot of long faces on the part of Manheim Central. I think it was summed up best earlier in the broadcast. This team really had to accomplish a lot just to get back to this game this year. 21 starters missing from the state champion last year, replaced all of them, got back to the state championship game, and Mike Williams even said earlier this week, the Berwick win in the East Final last week may have been one of the biggest wins in the history of the program. Berwick was kind of an albatross for this team to really get by them. But for Thomas Jefferson, what an achievement for them. Came in here, denied all the talk that they would be awestruck, came out and said, hey, we're used to playing in a big atmosphere like this. And the team of destiny talk really came to fruition tonight for TJ. A really dominant defensive effort for them.
Mike Williams, one of the best in the business. This team will be tuned up again for next year's run. They'll be one of the favorites not only in District 3, but really in the eastern half of the state. Berwick has a lot of people back. Probably going to come down to Manheim and Berwick and others. Mechanicsburg will be very good in the eastern half. They've got one of the great quarterbacks in Zach Frazier. And I'll start my argument in the West with Thomas Jefferson. I know Strong Vincent has lost a lot of veteran leadership this year, but
Vincent loses a lot, but one of the things that Tom Cashone has done is not only built up his varsity, but his junior varsity. Certainly TJ is going to learn what it's like to have that target on their back. Another tough road through District 7 next year. A lot of good quality players back, but a lot of good quality players back wearing the white with the gold pants and the black helmets tonight.
So we talk about the Thomas Jefferson defense tonight. Second half, 7 possessions for Manheim Central, 1 punt, 2 touchdowns, 4 interceptions.
There it is, their first ever state championship trophy in football. They had come up short last year. They were heartbroken to lose the WPIAL championship game to Pine Richland. And they came back with this in mind, mission accomplished and then some, with a knockout performance tonight in the gold medal game, winning 56-20.
It's also kind of neat when you're looking forward to a game and you point out certain players, and all the players that we pointed out tonight before the game had big games. Mass for Manheim Central, the 2 linebackers, Nix and Kaloja, and certainly Brad Dawson.
It's really fun sometimes, as you think about this game, to watch a team rise above themselves. And we saw Thomas Jefferson rise to a level tonight that just very few teams could have played at.
We will have replays of day number 1 of the 2004 PIAA Championships later this evening, starting at 10 o'clock on PCN, Pennsylvania's championship network. No doubt, Thomas Jefferson left no doubt who is the best team in AAA in Pennsylvania this year, winning resoundingly so, 56-20. We'll be back with you tomorrow at noon. Lansdale Catholic going up against Grove City, and then at 5, boys quad, it will be Central Catholic out of Pittsburgh, the number 6 team in the country, going up against Neshaminy out of that rugged suburban one in Philadelphia. Pittsburgh-Philly thing tomorrow at 5 o'clock. Not a bad way to end things. For our TV2 Service Electric crew, and for PCN, for Gary Sutton, for Steve Bowen, for Mike Conti, I'm Jed Donahue. Thomas Jefferson makes a big statement, and the AAA state championship is going back home to Pittsburgh. Good night, everybody.